Yo, what is up, everyone? We are live. This is the final show of the year. The final show of the year. And so I thought it'd be really cool to bring on someone that I haven't talked to in a year and a half. Like we've DM'd, we've interacted on the socials. But I thought I'd bring on Nicholas Mueller, the Ravens Loft, creator of Winnie the Pooh, Demon Hunter Raven, all that fun stuff. And we're just, we're going to talk about, I think what's going to be cool about this stream is we're going to talk about what it's like, what it's like making comics at this stage in our lives. And what that means is, I think a lot of people can relate to this. Both of us have kids. Both of us are husbands and fathers with responsibilities. And we're both people who love comics. We love making comics, but we're also, and we're passionate about, what can we do to, better market ourselves. But at the end of the day, we're also people who, and I'll let Nicholas speak for himself. I think we both understand like the trajectory of our quote unquote life. I posted that video that was semi clickbaity that was saying like I'll never be my dreams of becoming a full-time artist are over. And it wasn't like this is it, it's done. It was, which a lot of people for some reason took that video as like it's over, Tyler's done, Drawn Talk's over, he's washed out. It's like, no, actually what it is I had to put on my big boy pants and go, you know what, maybe like this isn't gonna go a certain way. Like drawing comics and making comics isn't gonna go a certain way in my life. Like I'm not like this 15, 20-year-old who's breaking into the industry, who has, massive amounts of talent from the get-go, and all the doors, there's doors of Marvel and DC and Image at my disposal, and I can work hard and get into it. Like the times are so different. The industry is completely changed, and it's just different. It is a different landscape. And so I had to come to this realization, like, hey, I just, if I'm going to do comics, it's going to have to be done a certain way, a non-conventional way, in a way that's going to have to work with my priorities, and my priorities being me being a husband and a father. So, and you know what, with that, ever since that video, by the way, I've just been like, there's been so much drama. I've been brought in and out of like so many things. EVS, are you watching tonight? Like Ethan Van Skyver has watched the channel a couple times. So it's just, I didn't think that video was going to create such a reaction. But it did. I mean, literally the day I posted it, I had like 5 reaction videos happen. It was nuts. Regardless, 2024 is over. I wanted to bring on Nicholas Mueller to talk with him, catch up with him, see what he's reading, see what he's drawing, but also have us talk about what our plans are with 2025, but then also talk about like what are the changes that we've seen in the indie landscape, from when we got in, and like what does it look like now? Where do we think it's going to go? So this is going to be a good stream. I think it's going to be a silly goose time as always. I love talking with Nicholas. So let's bring him in. So now I gotta do this whole OBS thing where I hit interview. So now you see me, guys. You see me? Boom. And now I will bring in Nicholas. All right, let's see. Does this work? Nicholas, can you hear me?
Oh my gosh, this is old school.
StreamYard, I don't know if you've like aware, dude, StreamYard is like $400 now.
What?
Yeah. Why? I saw someone tweet saying, oh my gosh, I'm quitting my StreamYard because they upped the prices, and because my credit card's on file because I had like their $80 a year plan, they just immediately locked me in to a $400 plan.
Oh, geez.
And I was like, what? And so I canceled it, and then they were like, no, we want you back. Here's like we'll give it to you for $200. And I don't remember what I did. I don't know if I canceled it or took it, but regardless, it's like, yeah, so now I'm using StreamYards and trying to figure out, and then putting an OBS on it now.
I haven't been on any of these things for like over a year, so I have no clue. Like I heard about the price hikes, and I don't understand it. Do they just need more bandwidth, or less people? Maybe a bunch of people quit using it after like the whole entire
Maybe
deal.
maybe they were just like, we've proven that we're the best product, and now we can charge people what we think it's worth. Like
Kind
maybe too many people were using it, and they were like, we should be making more money.
kind of like an Uber thing where like they underpriced it just to get everyone on board, and then like totally just like get all the competition out of the
Yeah.
room. Like, ah, now we're never going to hike everything up.
Yeah, dude, I'm dealing with this.
Wow.
I'm dealing with this company right now. I'm combating them. They're my competition, and I mean, I just can't compete because they're this Chinese company, and basically their quote unquote strategy is they're giving everyone in the sphere that I work in 2 years worth of supplies
Oh gosh.
for like dollars, so cheap, and because of it, everyone's switching over to using them, even though they're a worse product, but they're cheaper. And I'm like, man, these guys aren't going to make any money. But it's like, actually, they don't need to make money because in 2 years they'll have dominated the whole market. That then when they raise their price, everyone's like, well, we've already been using these guys, so
Wasn't that kind of also like what a lot of people were saying about Webtoons really early on because they were owned by a larger company and they were just a subsidiary of it. So it
mm-hmm.
didn't matter if Webtoons was actually bleeding money; they could afford to actually like offset those costs through a different means.
Yeah, it was. I think it was because it was owned by Line, which is
Yes.
like a huge, massive like a Facebook in Asia.
Yeah. But
Um,
yeah, through Korea because yeah, they have like this giant like whatever. What do they even do? I never found out what they actually do.
Line is like, it's like WhatsApp. It what
Oh,
so
for real?
See, it's like a messaging app, it's a social media app, it's a shopping app. Like everyone in Asia lives and breathes on Line.
See, and that seems to be like what a lot of the competition ends up doing is that they may not be able to like what they'll do is they'll try to suffocate you out and they'll like hit you from every means possible of like drying up your current your like your supply your currency and then just slowly just kind of like you have to give up because you don't have the means to like produce against that unless you're super stubborn and you're like nah I'm gonna hold on with my dying breath.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Nicholas, what have you been like? Where have you been for a year and a half, man?
Well, here's the truth. I thought I'd reveal this all to you on tonight's show as you're ending it. I'm actually one of EVS's alternative accounts. I'm using a voice modular to
There
troll you
you
right now.
go.
No, no, no. I've just been busy parenting, uh, working on the side, and supporting the family, and just like taking. I don't know how often people talk about burnout, but like, man, I hit like one of the hardest burnouts at like the beginning of this time last year, and it just kept steamrolling. Like I'd get like maybe a week and like a week of like rest or like, man, yeah, the creative drive's back, and then I would just be like 3 days later, be like, God, everything sucks.
Fuck. Wait, did you launch a product this Kickstarter this year?
One, yeah, I did the fifth volume of Winnie the Pooh, um, but it was really kind of a learning year too. Like I sat back and just been drawing, learning the fundamentals and just trying to like up my skills because I'm sure like you have these discussions but like AI has made it where like mediocre you just can't be mediocre anymore. You have to either be superb or you're now using AI or some means of producing through that means just to kind of get like in people's faces.
You've definitely got to be more creative, like
Yeah.
because AI makes everything look so polished, so you really have to like, this is my style, this is what it looks like, but I'm like the best at my style.
Yeah. And people that are into quirky styles have to be into quirky styles, and that can only go so far. So, like, if you're mediocre and you're trying to go for a certain style that doesn't mesh with people, you can only go so far. An idea that isn't executed well also can only go so far. So this year, I've really been trying to just take some time to hone my skills and really kind of just drive into a new direction. But it really slowed me down.
Oh, I'm sure, dude. Like I haven't, like, even for me this year, we got a lot of people in the chat real quick. Like Kova's Lookout, what's up? Al Jamil, Poor Jamal, Crooked Painter, Sir Ubi-san, John A. Douglas, how you guys doing? Dreaded Dinosaur, which is Eric Hodson. He sent me an awesome cover this last week. I'll show it off here actually. Is like this year, I was gonna say I didn't do a lot of drawing this year, but I did. It just seems like a blur because I had to finish Growth the Megafist Volume 4 this year. So there was, I did do a lot of drawing. But I felt like I didn't do as much drawing as I was used to in terms of line art, because normally I used to do 2 volumes a year of the Growth of Megafist, and then now most of the time my quote unquote drawing is like gray toning, like the
Yeah, you're
artist
kind of being like
pages.
the assistants
Yeah,
to like.
that's what
Yeah,
that's what I'm doing at this point. I'm just an assistant. So like I'm like kind of excited for like Super Plumber Sisters ending and Bullet Assassin ending, because now I just get to focus on Growth the Megafist and My Sexy Witch Academia. But then if I want to do another like maybe mini series, I think I'm just gonna draw it, because like I miss the drawing aspect, and I feel like I'm scared to start drawing volume 5 of the Growth of Megafist, because I'm like, great, I kind of have to like relearn. I feel like because I haven't done line art in so long.
it's scary to come back to it.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure it is. Like I'm terrified, and like
Okay, so
I'm like scared I'm gonna get a hand cramp.
oh, my hand's done.
Yeah.
No. Okay, so when you launched Super Plumber Sisters, did you expect it to become as big as it did?
No, I wonder how much of it was like the cancellation.
I'm sure
Um,
that played a part in it, but it still has legs.
yeah, it actually, what was crazy about the Super Plumber Sisters is that like 80% of those backers were actually like new backers who had never backed me before.
Do you think they came in for the name and the association drawn from it, because it has like a bit of like that familiarity to it, but
Oh,
it has your touch on it?
yeah, I think so. And I think and the reason why like the first one did 20K was because it was 80% new backers. They
Hmm.
bought Super Plumber Sisters, and then they all bought an add-on. So they all bought My Sexy
Wow.
Witch Academia. They all bought a Growth the Megafist book. So when Super Plumber Sisters 2 came out, and they had already been in my ecosystem at that point, they all were
Mhm.
just like, well, I already have all the stuff he has now, so I'm just gonna buy the next installment.
Do you get annoyed when people try to draw comparisons?
Yeah, I do, because they just look at it from a numbers standpoint,
Hmm.
and I'm like, it's more than that. Like it's more than just like, if I launch a new if you launch a new series, and it's like the reason why My Sexy Witch Academia did 20K did 20K in this last one, the second one, it wasn't because the first one was just did gangbusters and like there was all this hype. It was, I actually partnered with like 2 or 3 really big Kickstarter creators, and they pushed their audience over, and
Ah,
and they pushed their audience over to the second book, and then those people who weren't familiar with my book all bought an add-on book. So like
mm.
60% of those backers in the second My Sexy Witch Academia, they all got add-ons. So yeah, it's not like, oh, like my books are selling, my main book is selling all this much. It's actually, no, it's, I'm just selling a ton of add-ons because I have a big backlog. But that's
That's
like
a good.
nuance. But that's nuance that like a lot of
Yeah,
people won't look at.
that's something that doesn't get discussed a whole lot. Is that only in the creator sphere do people like to use the comparison of like, well, this didn't do this, or
Yeah.
why isn't this, like everyone likes to hold each other, like they like to hold these sort of substandards that, like, when you kind of step back and like, wait, I wanted to make books and do this not to entertain numbers and
Yeah.
armchair critics, but to like entertain people.
Yeah, like there's this just waiting for Tyler to say synergy so I can pop. You gotta have synergy in what you're doing, guys.
Synergy.
um, like there's this kind of this like weird thing where like, oh, if your project, everyone's trying to get their first 10K project, and then either you do or you don't, but like who cares? But there's still all this like talk about it. And then if you if one of your projects does get 10K and over, and then let's say like the next one doesn't do as well, everyone goes, oh, like they're falling off, they're doing crap. And it's like,
Yep.
maybe what it was a bunch of people wanted to try a number one. The ones that didn't like the number one obviously don't want to buy number two. And so but the ones who do want to read number two are gonna go follow number two, three, and four. Like there's always, like I always want my number one to be the highest, and then like I'm okay if it dips at that point, because you're just
Yeah.
like, Like, and like I'm okay with that. Like I put out I have this like Notion template that I've planned out my 2025. These are the titles, and I even have like predictions on where like I think these will hit. Not what I want them to hit, but what I think what they'll hit. And like Bullet Assassin and like even Super Plumber Sisters 4, I think I don't even have them like hitting 10K. If
Mm.
they do, that'd be fantastic, but like I'm not banking on them hitting 10K.
It's harder to continue with further down the road series numbers, like hitting those 4 or 5s, like, and especially if like in the crowdfunding scene, you don't have like that monthly. Oh, we're putting out Batman every month. It's like, well, maybe every 3 to 4 months if you're keeping a consistent pace. But like when you're only putting out two of those issues for a title per year, I mean, people kind of waver in that you don't have that consistency. Not that you're not trying to. It's just really hard to keep people like um they'll usually wait for like the larger trades or
Yeah.
something they can read in a binge sort of way.
Or like and like now that Kickstarter has these add-ons, maybe they'll miss Super Plumber Sisters 2, but they'll back My Sexy Witch Academia 2 and then get Super Plumber Sisters 2 as an add-on.
Yeah.
So they're
Yeah.
still they're buying the books not just on the campaign, but like later down the road.
Well, and then are they buying it through other means too, like your shop or other outlets? Yeah.
Exactly. So like that's like the stuff that like, but everyone's so focused on those crowdfunding numbers, and
Mhm.
when it's like, listen, like buy the book. If you don't like if the people who want the book, buy the book. If they're not going to buy the book, like it's fine. I'll try to make another book that they like, and yeah, it's like meh.
I think again, it's just all going back to creating for fun and entertaining people because I know the numbers get thrown out there quite a bit, and it's really fun when you're hitting those large numbers because then the community gets all riled up and there's an excitement for it. But if the book sucks, it's really hard to be excited then.
Dude, I read the worst review of one of my books last night.
I hate finding those.
I was and like the person like super hates like my style of book anyway. He's a super EVSer, so like I mean I'm grateful that he backed the book. Number one, I'm not saying that that's gonna change. I just don't know if like the type of books I was gonna make he was even gonna like ever.
Mhm.
But he was like, "This is stupid. There's no deep meanings to this Bullet Assassin book." I'm like, "It's not. I wasn't trying to have a deep meaning with this book. Sometimes you just want to
Okay,
make
on that
quirky
note,
book."
yeah, on that note, when people want you to make okay, so this goes into a whole entire creator versus the reader sort of subset of when people demand that your book go a certain way. Like, do you please the fan? Do you please the reader? Do you, like how far do you go it? Because I had someone recently saying they really wanted my book to go this direction, and I was like, well, I don't the book's not going to go that direction. And when you're trying to set up sort of um, certain things in the story that it starts going a different direction, it would like betray some of those moments. And I feel like that's always a struggle with the creator and
Yeah,
the relationship with the reader of like maintaining those boundaries.
I think it's I remember watching someone do a stream about Bullet Assassin. They were breaking it down, and they were like, "I think he's gonna go this way," and I was like, "I'm not." And the whole stream were like, if he goes this way, if they go this way, and I'm like,
Ugh.
and am I gonna piss you off if I? It feels like am I gonna piss you off if like you read it and what sucks sometimes is sometimes they have sometimes the reader will have a better idea
Mm,
than I've had that, like the reader has a better idea and than what you had planned, but because I'm already drawing it, it's like it's too late. I will say though, I have had like a couple people, readers and the girl with the mega fist, be like, "Oh, I wonder if this would happen." And because it's such a big book and like it's so far ahead planned, I'm like, yeah, I, I'm gonna add that.
oh yeah,
That's
that's
a
gonna
good
add that
idea,
to
and
my
I knew
note.
I was gonna do that.
Well, and you run into that issue where I think manga creators definitely have it on a larger scale, obviously. But with My Hero Academia's creator, I can never pronounce his name correctly, but with his book ending, just did you see how divisive the audience was because so many of them had headcanon
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
never there.
they had their the ships, the
Yeah.
ships, and yeah, people were so pissed. Well, even like I think that's a problem that you get with manga and webtoons is they're
Yep.
coming out weekly and everyone has this expectation and you as the creator are like, do I meet their expectation, or do I say no to it, and then possibly, like, in at least in manga, you get canceled if people
Oh
stop
yeah.
reading it. Like Gege on Jujutsu Kaisen, it sounded like
Oh,
he hated his whole series.
I think he hated it from the get go though.
Oh, for
Reading most of his notes, that dude's a pessimist down to the T. You're
dude,
like, oh,
I was like, man, you created like one of the biggest shonen mangas in like the last decade, and it sounds like you were on a suicide watch drawing this
did you
book.
see how out of control that got though? I mean, the leaks were. I mean, they were leaking it the minute it hit the
Oh,
shops.
dude, yeah. I mean, the
Holy cow!
everyone was talking about that.
I've never seen anything on par with that before. I mean, Bleach, maybe Naruto, way back like what 15, 20 years ago, was maybe having that sort of like heat where readers are like, you give me that instant gratification of the story right now. I mean,
Yeah,
even My Hero Academia, they're like, we can wait a few days.
yeah, not JJK. Like people were
No,
staying up till like midnight, like
and
for those
you'd see
leaks.
hundreds of thousands of comments per like a minute.
Oh yeah, dude, for sure.
That was nuts.
Real quick, I'm gonna get in these super chats. Indie Comics out there for $5. You know who else has a big backlog? Ethan Van Sciver, 700 plus bad reviews over 1.5 hours long on my page. Yeah, Mike Wheeler did put out a video compilation of all the late book comments on his Indiegogo, and the video was like over an hour.
Oh yikes!
Crooked Painter for $10. Thank you so much. Andrew Rowland for $5. There are too many creators who are too focused on trying to impress other artists / creators. Just write in or draw what you like, and you'll find fans. Hopefully you'll
Yeah,
find fans.
hopefully.
But you should definitely write and draw. Like that's another thing. I remember going back and forth with a creator. I think it was this year. They just like came at me because they were like, you don't make good, compelling stories that are gonna change the world, like Alan Moore and Grant Morrison and Neil Gaiman and all this stuff. And they're like, but my book is doing that, but I hate that you're getting attention. And I was like, I have never once tried to say that Super Plumber Sisters is this like deep, thoughtful book that's like The Watchmen or Sandman, or same with Bullet Assassin or My Sexy Witch Academia. Like you should be able to get those kind of from the titles.
You
That
know, I think though that becomes disingenuous, and not to interrupt you here, but like, would anyone call Naruto a very deep story? Are the characters super deep? And I think because it has a lot of emotional rug pull, like it pulls on you emotionally, a lot it impacts a lot of people. If you can impact someone emotionally or talk to them in maybe these goofy series, and it doesn't have to be this Watchmen sort of dark, overly complicated story. You can still impact people with a line here, a line there. I think I think we're probably on the same page here. Is a lot of creators get tied up in this. You have to see it from their point of view. You can only create from this point of view. But in reality, like India is this all-encompassing. Creating is just all-encompassing subjective art, to put it kindly.
well, go and as well, like you're right. It doesn't have like sometimes like, oh well, I'm writing this story because I'm gonna put out this message, and it's gonna make you feel this way, and you can have those in your story. Like I'm you probably definitely have it in Deviant Hunter Raven, where it is this action packed, crazy story. But there are like these emotional moments where it's like you have Demon Hunter Raven, you have his father, you have that relationship with him. You have Winnie the Pooh and Christopher Robin, and like those friendships, and like you can have moments of emotional and deep impact for the reader, if you build those characters out right. I mean, like Super Plumber Sisters, it's a super silly action comedy book. um but you're seeing this relationship with these two sisters and their cousins. It's these, you're seeing this family fighting. Why is this family fighting? um like and like chapter 3, which is what I'm working on right now, like we're gonna get into the crux of like, this is what happened that created this family to break apart, and hopefully like they can come together. And while it's not like a hit you in the head um type of storytelling, you can have those moments.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Let's see, we have Uh, Interesting name. Did you call yourself the Crooked Painter? FNet. I had story. I wish I had good story. I had stories good enough where people cared about my endings. Johnny Douglas, stick to your creative guns. Never let the audience dictate for you. Kova's Lookout. Um, JJK was trash. There's a lot of comments. Algermill, I think too many creators bank on collectors. They should be focused on readers. However, that does take consistent work. Um, let's see. All manga fans hate the endings. That's true. I can't think of a manga where people like the whole community was like, "Yep, that was the ending we wanted."
People love the new the remade ending for My Hero Academia now. That apparently that went over really well.
Is it like in the physicals? Like it's a new end. It's a new ending.
So the digital version that went out in like the anthologies and all that was the I hate that they do this. I don't know how often they do this now, but it was like the first ending, and then they did a revision of it for the printed, but it's not in volumes yet.
Okay, but they did do. Um,
Yeah, it's like an epilogue. He did like a whole another 20-page epilogue that so the joke of Deku ending up as a McDonald's employee is now that he ends up now getting the suit that they were hinting on in that epilogue, however you say it, and then he comes then he says, I'm better as a teacher training the next generation, something like that, and then he goes out with Bakugo. It's been a while. I don't remember half these characters.
Gotcha.
It was far more satisfying from what I could tell. I just skimmed it, but it didn't leave you on that like, oh, that felt all pointless, to now like, oh, okay, there was some meaning behind it.
Dude, I think the last manga that I read that I was like, I love this ending, was still like The Promised Neverland, even though everyone says the ending sucked. I personally liked it. I was crying. I was like, this is so good. Algebra, not all stories have to be deep. Sometimes you want something fun. Yeah, I think that you and I are kind of in that camp. Like we just want to make some fun stuff.
Yeah, I think when you have a fun story, like what happened to old, like even just slice of life, or like the stories that took these tangents. I know, like in the Naruto age where we complained about those filler episodes. I kind of miss those now because it took you on this like side path where you're getting to learn about these characters, the worlds, and then you get back to the main story, and it just feels like we're missing a lot of that.
It was even though those side stories weren't pushing like the plot forward, they were pushing the characters forward. And you built like a good relationship with them. Like I was reading this thing about, I've been really big into like these Taylor Sheridan shows like Yellowstone, Tulsa King, Mayor of Kingstown, Lioness. I'm currently watching Landman, and what people are saying is like the reason why these shows are so critically acclaimed isn't necessarily for like the plot or the messaging, but it's because everything, the whole show, all the shows just feel like this soap opera drama where you're just so
Yeah.
invested in these characters and what they do, that when something crazy happens to the characters, you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm so invested, this is a crazy storyline, when it could be like the most basic thing. But because you're invested in the characters, um you think that the story and plot is really good.
Yeah,
uh,
if you can't resonate with the characters, it doesn't matter how much like all the other areas, it's gonna fall flat.
Yeah, like dude, like I'm watching like Landman. All the Landman is about it. It's about a guy who works for this company, and they're trying to acquire different deals so they can pump oil and distribute it to America. That's it. That's the most boring premise, and yet he has to deal with his son who's working. His son is working there, and his son
Mm.
works with the crew, and the crew died, and now everyone thinks that it's his son. Meanwhile, his daughter is like back into his life with his ex-wife, and then now there's this lawyer coming after like the son in the company. So how do they deal with that? So you have all these characters, even though it's like the most boring premise of and then the first like 30 seconds, like the cartel shows up, and you think that'd be the most like the focus of the whole series, but they don't show up again for like 7 episodes. And so like it's just, you're invested in these characters yelling at each other, arguing with each other, stabbing each other in the back. No one's died. Like none of the main characters have pretty. So, but it's just drama. It's drama, and because you're invested in these characters, and it doesn't have to be, even though it's like this deep, impactful story. you do get these moments where like the character does have this moment of like, listen, the reason why I hate my life is because I wish I'd done A, B, and C, and I hope that you know, talking to the daughter, I hope that you can do it better than me. And like that's like a really strong,
Right.
impactful moment for the viewer, for the characters, and you go, oh, that's actually a really good like life lesson right there. Like I wish I thought I could think about that more. And then it goes back into the drama. And so yeah, I don't. But once again, that's just I think it just comes down to like in the indie scene, and Andrew Rowland says it. Let me read Super Chat real quick. Not every comic has to be the next Dark Knight. You can have your Dark Knights, and at the same time, you can have your Sonic the Hedgehogs. Exactly. Um,
Yeah, different crowds, different people want different things.
um, I think though, like with the indie scene, because we're all in the quote unquote same arena. Sometimes there's this sense of, and we've seen this that like this, you don't belong here. That's why there's all these fights. That's why you know that's why people do drama streams. That's why you have Larry who's mad at me because I don't want to do the way that he does. That's why you have EVS mad at every indie creator because he doesn't like that he's in the indie scene and he wants all the pros to just take over the indie scene. And then you have like other creators like Tony James who are like, how come Kickstarter needs to get rid of all the boob books because I would be doing well. And you have other people like, no, it's like all the creators are just like, everyone is so in their faces. And then you have like, oh well, I'm making this much money, and like, oh well, the Rip Reverse, like, are they really an indie company even though they have millions of dollars? And you have, well, like, is Iconic really a startup, even because they have a warehouse and that means you're not a startup? It's um like,
I think
yeah.
I think people need to realize that a lot of the creators are just tiny little islands that sometimes are like hovering in the same particular area, and sometimes their islands have bridges that connect in between each other. And sometimes people will set up a bridge to go in and attack another person's island.
That's fair.
How often have you heard that saying of like, you know, when a rising tide lifts all ships? But man, do some people come in and start pillaging and plundering at the same time? Like, whoa, whoa, whoa!
That's
All
a
boats are up.
that's a good way to put it. That's a
Yeah,
good
I
way to
mean,
put it.
I think we've all had our moments where like everyone's like, you know, we're all rallying together. We're like, hey man, we're all in this together. And then you've got that one person that's in the background, like, yeah, we're in it together, but I'm going to take all your stuff. And you know, you're in there, you're naive, and you're going, you know, yeah, we're all holding hands, we're all singing that Coke commercial, like, you know, let's all peace, love, and joy. And there's someone behind there, like, you know, cutting open your bags and putting all the money and resources into their bag, and then they're running off. Like, yeah, you know, all that side. Um, I think it's just good to have appropriate boundaries and go, yeah, we can all be in the same field. And here's another thing too. I know I love your when you say we're all indie comics, we're all in the same arena. But man, if you go on YouTube and you type in top 20 indie comics of 2024, nobody in the crowdfunding scene shows up. It's your Image Comics, your Boom. The regular reading audience considers that indie. What they consider us is low tier indie, and it's like, oh, how do we measure?
We're not even in the discussions.
We're not even in that realm.
Well, not just that, like the crowdfund, and like that's another thing is like the crowdfunding scene is completely different. It is
Yeah.
a world of its own. And I was talking, someone commented on one of my posts. Where is that? Let me find
Okay,
it.
can we just take a moment to realize that Mrs. H is in the chat? I have not seen
Oh
her in
shit,
ages.
really? Dude, like,
Holy
dude,
cow.
yesterday I was like, man, I really miss Mrs. H and Delicate Art. And then Mrs. H popped up on a comment on on one of my YouTubes. I was like, "Oh my gosh, you're back." Now she's in the chat. Let's see. I am the Pirate Queen, JK. Hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas. We love Mrs. H.
I was just thinking, I was like, okay, we've lost like the number one cheerleader of the indie scene, the person that is level headed, keep people together. And guess what? Drama broke out across the land. Her disappearance and the timing of drama feels like it fits. Like there's something there. I'm just saying, Mrs. H, you're needed.
Yeah, she left, and then everyone was like, "Okay, we can start being
Everyone started
pricks again."
fighting. Yeah.
Even me. Dakari for $5. I finally caught your live stream while I was live, Tyler. Hello, Mr. Raven. I'm excited for more of your work, especially Popeye. 2025 will be fire. I'll do, you guys. We are going to talk to Nicholas about what his plans are for 2025, and that Popeye
Oh
book
gosh, it's
will be
gonna suck.
discussed. Aljamil,
Oh yeah.
I always laugh at people who complain about everyone getting into comics. The market determines who survives. People who are annoyed at the plethora of creators are insecure about their products. Oh yeah, um, you had I don't know if you like saw, but you had Larry a couple weeks ago saying like he wants a quality control on Kickstarter because there's too much in his opinion crap on the platform and it's
I
hindering.
mean, there is a lot of crap on there, but who controls that is up to the
Yeah,
actors.
like you don't want anyone to control it, and like I don't like, even though there is maybe quote unquote crap, there are some books that I'm like, this is utter dog shit, but it has like 50K like
Yeah,
self-funding.
there's ones on there that. Well, and have you seen the dominance of AI in there lately?
Oh my gosh, I did.
Holy cow,
There's a lot.
we
It's
we're doing it wrong.
do you
I say that
would you
jokingly.
ever do an AI cover? Openly,
No.
admittedly.
Yeah, openly. Yeah, on the record, no.
No.
But no. I think it's fun to play with it on a conceptual level, but in terms of using it, this is what I'm scared about: is AI. It doesn't matter what we think as creators, and our
It's
fans, obviously, what they think is important. But when it reaches mass general audiences, the question about whether it's okay or not is out of our hands, and
correct.
we can keep it as much as we can. The minute they start going, yeah, we're fine with this, the question doesn't matter anymore. I was at Hobby Lobby for Christmas shopping with my kids. We walked past all the painted, canvases and stuff, and I sat there going, "Holy crap! There is AI
In
canvases
Hobby Lobby?
in Hobby Lobby."
Jeez.
The art section, the comic things were AI, and you could just look at it because a lot of us can tell by that smoothness, some of the
Mm-hmm.
paint structures. It's not natural, and you sit there going, "Holy crap! This is AI." And my wife was like, "Stop it! Let me enjoy this." I was like, "No, this is artificial. It's not handcrafted." And but the minute the general audience does not care, the mass populace does not care about it, we've lost it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter what we say. If they enjoy it, it's now part of the system.
That's bonkers. Holy crap.
Yeah, no, it's in there.
We have um Trey Michael saying, I saw a guy Coffee Comics call you a hunchback because you don't do comics full time. Yeah, it's
Can
coffee's funny.
Coffee I After seeing some of the Reddit that's come up, can we just say that Coffee's whole entire marketing scheme is to bash on other people when his own craft needs to be lifted up? I he sells his whole entire stuff on the backs of others. So I think the whole entire term hunchback is laughable because he is himself standing on other people's back to lift himself up.
And like I'll say this about Coffee. Like it is he is so well spoken and articulate that he's able to convince people in it with his videos that he's
Yeah,
right.
yeah, and that's the problem is if you're in this and you know what's happening, you'll know that much of what he says is pretty benign and not accurate. And again, he's standing on other people's back to lift himself up, make him sound like the superior moral person, but he speaks in his compassion sometimes, and his passion for what he talks about outweighs the actual
Dude,
facts or
he hits
knowledge.
like, and like he hits the lowest like denominator fruit of people. Um and they eat up.
Well,
I just remember this guy talked about him and I was like, "Oh, is this guy still doing
Well,
shit?"
and here's the other thing too, and when you get into the drama mill, the drama then lifts it up to the top where everyone gets to talk about it. Then it gains attention, and it's like playing with fire. Some point, it's going to burn you. But people will come in for the attention because it's like, wow, there's this chaos going on. There's this circus that's going on. I got to check it out. But if the work itself that you're promoting within that drama can't stand up for itself, people are going to leave. Eventually, they'll go, oh, this is kind of all smoke and mirrors, and that's fine if you get a few fans through it. You will get fans through it, but like I think maybe you'll speak of the same too. But I'm at a point where I would rather the work speak for itself than allowing there to be other means that may not be as that maybe have duplistic means to garner attention. Like if people come in and they like the idea, they like the craft, they're resonating with the story. Um, and it's not to say that drama and attention doesn't garner good marketing means, but it can also burn out pretty quick.
I would rather, yeah, I agree. Like I'd rather have them come in in either like me as the creator or like the work that I'm putting in, rather than like Tyler just got canceled. So the way that I rally is I got to back his book, because now that project numbers are inflated. And when you put
Yeah.
out the second one and there's no drama, do those people come back?
Right.
I don't know.
It, it's not to say that you can't do it, and I don't think either one of us are advocating don't do it. But doing it the opposite way is such a longer, harder road,
Yeah.
and it is 10 times more frustrating.
I mean, I remember like, do you remember Nasser?
A little bit. I don't wasn't around so much during that time.
Okay, so like, I remember I used to talk with Nasser a bunch, and he like when he every time he was in like massive heights of drama, he would make big money on his Indiegogos. He says I'm not doing drama anymore, so he doesn't get invited on any of the drama streams. No one really cares about following him. No one starts watching his YouTube anymore because he's not doing these drama streams anymore. He
Mhm.
can't even fund his projects, and so he leaves the indie scene completely. Um, because those people weren't there because they liked Nasser or his books, and his books were good. It was I'm my way of saying fuck you Disney is buying Nasser's book.
Right. And then how many of those people actually read the product that they're supporting to stand against this thing? End up how many of them end up actually reading it? I'm really curious about those numbers. How many of them actually dive into the final product?
Yeah, I am yeah, I'm curious about that too. Like I'm guessing not many, because then they don't come back and they have to be told to buy this thing, and they don't buy it because they don't buy it or follow it because they are excited about the next one. Um, yeah, I have no idea. Trey Michael. Yeah, I was confused because I'm like, wait, Tyler, you're selling more comics than he is. Yeah, like Coffee and I have gone like back and forth before. Like he made a video about me like forever ago.
I think it's important to also remember to just wish those people well when they go into these territories, because it's this they're seeking attention to get their stuff out there, and there's a better way to do it. It just takes longer. It's way more effort, and this I know for me when I see this stuff, I'm not looking to look for his work. I'm looking to the drama that he is enveloping himself in,
Yeah,
and
I'm seeing him as a what's the latest drama that I can like eat up for the
yeah,
next 10 minutes while I'm driving to work or something, and
yeah.
then sweet. And like I see people like there's creators like Coffee who they're not a conduit of storytelling, they're a conduit of getting me my my drama. um they're
And
giving me the news.
and for some people that's totally fine. Like I just want to clarify, I'm not against people doing it. I just enjoy a different path and other
Mm.
means, because I think at some point we all end up getting included in the drama in one way or another, and experience it, and are just like, yeah, I think I've had enough of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I don't know, like I love like YouTube culture, and so I listen to all like the drama stuff on around like social media culture.
Hmm.
Like I was all into the drama of the secret lives of Mormon wives. I was like, yeah, like, they're like it started off the drama started off when we were all drunk and we started making out with each other. I'm like, yeah, so that's
And that was the power of reality drama TV, is it was all manufactured drama with these characters that pulled you in because they were bonkers. I mean, reality TV hit it big for quite a while there.
oh yeah. What do you think about this comment? So Kovazuka says it's working for the Rippaverse, like the Coffee Comics approach. Would you say that Rippaverse is doing the Coffee Comics approach anymore, or what do you think?
Um,
Like, or
I
Eric
know
July?
before he launched, he was definitely used that as a means of procuring attention, and garnering a big like awareness. And that's why I say early on, it definitely does work to your means, but it can also burn you, and it can foster a wrong thing. So now that from what I've seen from the outside, it looks like Eric July has tried to get out of that. He's tried to jump out of the arena. He doesn't want to be in those places anymore. He wants to foster a positive thing. Um, I don't know if he is doing that. I have no clue. And yeah, a lot of people don't like that, and some people can get mad about that. And then you have the other people that go farther into it. I'm more of a fan of the less drama of approach, so I'm more inclined to be around that.
Yeah, I would love to see like the day to day stuff that they do at Rippaverse instead
Yeah,
of like, um, Lord of the Rings
but
is woke, Disney's woke, Witcher
and I
4 is
know a lot of
woke.
people start out by doing like what do you want to call it, like your news approach,
Mm-hmm.
your opinion news approach. And I mean, there's an audience for it. You can't, you can't really knock that because there are people that will consume that, watch it, and go into that sort of stuff. So I think it would be wrong to say that there isn't anyone into that, because there clearly is. And then it's just, does it convert over?
Yeah. Kova, where is it? I have all, there's so many freaking tabs. Kova, but to much of Rippa's comics are low quality to me. Have you bought any of Rippa versus comics, Nicholas?
Personally, no.
The only one I bought was the Horsemen.
Was that good?
I enjoyed it.
It
Like
looks cool.
I enjoyed it. Like it was the only one that made me go, yeah, I'll check this out.
That was the first one that made me go, I might have to check this out. Otherwise, the other ones have been not really my cup of tea.
Yeah, like it gave me like this Batman meets Punisher vibe and
Yeah.
whatnot. Kova, I don't know what though. Like these comics, like this is pretty good quality. Like this, like when you talk about quality, like art wise, like this is pretty good quality art. I can't draw like this at all.
Yeah, when you compare it to us, I don't think that's better.
This is fucking shit. And if you look, it is dog shit, and I can make something
And
way
this is
better.
Kane and White here, right?
Yeah, I think this is I don't know
Well,
if
this is
this is
someone else.
I don't know if this is Kane and White.
Yeah, those last images were Kane and White, and I love Kane and White stuff.
This is Kane and White, I think.
Yeah,
I think Kane and White
dude,
did.
I remember before he was doing anything in this sphere, and he was just like, I think his own words is he was struggling. Like some of the even creators would stiff him out of like payment, and he'd have like fully done work, and it's like,
Oh shit. I do remember I do because I remember he was like early Comic Skate
yeah,
back
yeah.
back when everyone was horrible at managing their money and stuff.
Who was that guy he was with? I forget his name.
Oh
He had that weird Santa Claus character.
oh my gosh.
You remember that?
Was the dude's name like
Antonio?
Antonio Brown? Was it Icarus?
Yeah. I don't remember.
Damn it! Now I need
I
to
just
know.
I just remember because I was like, anything with Kane and White I was checking out at the time, and then suddenly I was like, what is this Santa Claus thing?
Because I remember it was just like because he had that Santa Claus thing. And it had that like feminism is the future or whatever. It
Mm,
was a play of the Mockingbird one. I don't remember it, but yeah,
I just
I remember that.
Yeah, because Kane and White was doing a lot of covers for indie people at that time, like a Concrete Comics. He had their really cool characters on the screen. I was like, oh, dude, this is dope. And they took off pretty well. I haven't seen anything from them in a while, though.
Let's see.
That's the hard part about being a creator and a fan at the same time. It's like you're like, I wouldn't make it that way.
Yeah. Let's see. Neo Star says that. Damn, I completely forgot about Nasser. Um. Let's see. Yeah, I follow Nasser on everything, so I still see what he's up to. He does photography now.
I thought you were gonna say foot pictures at first. Whoa.
Dakar, drama is always good until it hits the people you like. That's a lesson I've learned as a viewer these last few years on Twitter. That's fair. And like at some point it'll like if you even dip your toe in it, at some point it's gonna come to you. Like
Yeah.
it's funny because like I'll get into these spats with like Larry and he'll be like, I'm gonna showcase all the bad things that you've done, and I'm like, you can look them up on Twitter. Like, I'm not some saint. I'll showcase. He's like, I'm gonna make a compilation of all the drama you've been. I'm like, do it. I'll say it. Like, I'm not hiding from it.
Well, here's the hard part too. From any standpoint, is it does bring attention. It does suddenly light up everyone's notifications. Like, oh my gosh, these people are going at it, and it brings like awareness to creators that maybe are like, oh, I haven't seen them in 3 months. And the problem is quickly learning that like so many people are off put by it. Um, and that's hard, especially if like your own work isn't getting the attention you want. Is like drama can really drum up that beat pretty quick.
Yes. I saw this TikTok and it was just like 2025 make friends. No, fuck that. 2025 make enemies. If you make enemies, you will then make friends who hate your enemies, and that's you will meet people who hate your enemies, and those are your friends.
Yeah, the model for 2025 is don't get better, get worse.
Dread Dinosaur. I was at the Ripaverse booth in San Antonio, and the fans loved them. Everyone was very kind and supportive. Trey Michael says my favorite is Yaira. Yeah, I want to try out Yaira. Aljamain, I think Eric July is making people angrier by just not responding to drama. He makes said people blind with rage when he has pleasant interactions with iconic comics.
Oh yeah, that whole entire mashup, iconic. Um, the Ripaverse. Is there one other? Are they including you in that whole entire sphere now? Because
They shouldn't. No, they're not.
they should. I mean,
So,
you do quality stuff. No, that is like, that's what I wish we had seen at the Onslaught. Like whenever I think about these creator spats, I always go, man, in the manga industry, Tai Kubo was mentoring Geeg and Horishi. How do you pronounce the
Horikoshi?
Yeah, Horikishi. And they would sit down and but then also it was Akira Toriyama that put in the word to have Tai Kubo's bleach put into them. It's like there was a fostering of how do you want to say it, like accolades and like people taking them under wings, like, hey, I wouldn't do it this way, or like, hey, this brought me prominence. And we really lack that sort of structure where there's wisdom and but then also some of these people I wouldn't take wisdom from, like, nah, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, I mean, let's go back. Like, let's say you had the iconics, and then let's say you also had, let's say Allegiance Arts did their thing correctly.
Oh, that's, yeah.
Yeah, and then let's say you did have, and let's say you did have All Caps because he brought in other people under his All Caps banner. And let's say these were all just like really functioning companies. And then you bring in like the Shane Davis and the John Mann, and then like they're able to like bring in like smaller creators who are able to do more. Like then you foster a bigger scene, and you're able to just like bring in more sales. Like I'm sure that the iconic comics and Rippaverse sales, not in their crowdfundings but just on their other sites, probably went up because now at this point I'm seeing those two talked about synonymously.
Yeah, they're now in the same camp.
Yeah, like, yeah, everyone's like, it's always Rippaverse and iconic, Rippaverse and iconic, yeah. Iconic and Rippaverse. And whereas it just used to be like them separate. And so now like they're synonymous with each other and they talk positively about each other and they do artwork with each other.
It's not a us versus them.
It's not, and it never should have been.
And when we talk about the fun we had, that's what we were kind of had going on like 4 years ago. It's just like creators getting together and just like, you know, just like, hey man, you're doing some fun stuff. You're having, and I think that's the one thing I hate when Coffee Comics in his latest videos has talked about toxic positivity. Man, bro, you haven't been around people that want to foster and cheer you on. And then also comes along and said, man, what you're doing is cool. I want to cheer you on because I want to see your success. And I think that's the hardest part in the sphere that we are surrounded right now, or the arena that we're in, is other people's success means my failure. It's not. It is absolutely not. It should never be considered that way. Someone else's success means that there's an opportunity. Someone else has been working hard and they fostered an audience. That's awesome. It means that you can do the same thing too. Now, what do you need to do to make that happen?
I like going back to what you said like 4 years ago. I mean, so last night I let my kids sleep in our basement and I had to sleep in the basement with them to watch over them. And I was like so freaking bored. And so I was just on my phone and I was just like going through stuff. So I found like, I went down like the rabbit hole. So I find this tweet. I have it on my phone. I won't pull up. It says, this is in 2021, September 30th, 2021. I've got the picture of from Bakuman.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And I say, yo, Nicholas Mueller and his team can go screw themselves with that Patreon video update. Wow, it's on. It's freaking on. And basically, it was the video where you were saying, hey, this is going to be the universe I'm building. Like you had, do you remember freaking Paul Tucker?
Yeah, dude.
Like
that guy had such a skill to write.
You had like Paul Tucker, you had Matt Reese, and so I just remember like watching that video and being like, man, like, okay, like Nicholas is stepping up his game. Like I've got to maybe figure out how to bring in some more properties, but I didn't know how to do it at the time. and so there was just this energy, and then at the bottom it was a Larry had like an alt account. He says, "I agree, they can go screw themselves," and I was like, "Oh dang!" But like a year prior to that, though, and it was 4 years ago, and probably didn't want to bring this up, but I'm gonna do it anyways.
That
Um,
doesn't matter.
is like there was that energy where you, me, Larry, Max DeVille, we were in that
Scott?
Scott the Flock, we were
Yeah.
in this like DM group, and we were always streaming with each other, jumping on each other's streams. You and I were making videos back and forth, and there was just this energy of like we all knew that we were kind of doing our own like different things, but we were learning from each other, and everyone was just having
Yeah,
fun.
definitely.
And then it just that group went to like absolute dog shit. Um and
Over the dumbest
over
things.
the dumbest things, and now like now 4 years later, man, 4 years,
Well,
man,
and
4 years
it
ago that
doesn't
happened.
and it doesn't help when people's ideas and when everyone has a different view of how success looks and where the path is leading them. Like, okay, you and me, we're fathers, we're parents, we're husbands. We have very different goals and we have different tasks throughout the day. So if we don't get to accomplish them, it's like, okay, did we take care of our family? Did we take care of our kids? Does the wife feel like she is being fulfilled in all areas? Do the kids feel like they are having a fulfilling life? And at the end of the day, it's like, man, you can only make so many things happen, and
Yeah.
the priorities need to match. Um, so it's hard to be around other people that maybe don't have that same outlook or have different means of success, and then want to force that onto other people.
I,
And that's okay. It's just you then have to go, you know what? I think other means are necessary now.
yeah, you just have to like you can't expect everyone to do the exact same things. Like I would like you and I never expected us to do the exact same things as each other. We always knew that we all wanted just to make comics and have a good time, and you and I always knew like, okay, we're gonna figure out how to do that with the time that we have. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember it was like, okay, it's Wednesday, a new Chainsaw Man chapter came out. Who
Oh
can make
gosh.
this video the fastest? And then like 3 weeks later, it's like, dude, I don't have time to do this again.
I remember we were on this long call one time, and you were like, "Okay, we're both reading Chainsaw Man this whole month, and then we're gonna compare notes, and we're gonna both do essays." I was like, "Dude, for real?" He's like, "Dude, you're starting tonight." It's like, "All right, man, I'm on it tonight," and we were just going back and forth.
And then life caught up with us. Like I can't do that anymore. That was
It was fun, but yeah, then like kid needs came up and everything. It's like maybe we need to slow down a little.
yeah. Whereas like let's say like you have someone like I look at these two. I look at people like Stokes and Chris Moses, and those two guys are young. And I'm gonna say they're single. They might have girlfriends, but they're not married. They don't have children. They're young. They're putting out like I think 8 to 10 comics a year right now on Kickstarter.
That sounds fun.
And like they're both doing like over 10K campaigns, and there's a part of me that's like I would love to like be in a DM group with them and make all these videos, but and like do that kind of stuff. The difference is they would be like, okay, I can stream tonight, and be like, I can't, I've got kids.
Yeah,
And
that ended up being a huge
yeah,
issue.
so like then like I'd be holding them back if I like
Right.
and they're like, and I would never be able to catch up to what they're doing because they've got a massive long leash. Whereas like I know for me, I had to tell my wife, hey, is it okay if I do a live stream tonight?
Yeah, same here. And it's nothing along the lines of like, are we incapable? Are we being like, are we whipped or whatever? No, it's just communication, it's respect, and going, hey, what do we have going on this week? Can I spare this time? Can you give up your time tonight? It's thinking of the other person, and then going when they want to do that. It's just basic communication.
Yeah. And so I mean I was talking with I won't say who it was because it was a private conversation. But the I actually had this conversation with like 3 or 4 different people who they DM'd me, and it was kind of they were talking about the iconic comics Rippaverse, and they're
Mm.
like, Tyler, like would Drawn Talk ever partner up with the Rippaverse or Iconic? And I was like, I probably would not do anything with the Rippaverse because they don't do that kind of thing. Like it's all this is Eric July's universe, and I was like, and with
Yeah.
Iconic, I was like, you know, those guys are really awesome, and I don't think I would ever ask them to their face if I could join because I don't think I would like give anything of value to them. Like they're already doing all, you know, Tim and Mark, Doug, Eric, the guys who do the Butch Killigan, the people who do the Kindred
So
Heaven.
Tyler, you're saying you don't feel like it would be polite for you to ask to be part of Iconic? I have no shame.
Shut
I'll
up!
ask you
No, shut up!
you know,
Shut
but Tim and
up!
Mark- no, I'm kidding.
But like, I guess it's like those guys have all created their how they work together, and oh, I wouldn't be able to. I would not be able to catch up with them. They're doing so many. They're doing their our lifestyles just wouldn't mesh. I think, and I would
You
also.
remember when MythBusters brought on extra people?
Yeah, I do.
It kind of feels like if Iconic grows any beyond that point, what is Iconic then? Is it still that same thing? I think even a lot of people are just kind of worried to see like, well, these creators we know for Iconic, what can Iconic beyond that point?
Dude, I mean I had like two or three creators within the last like 6 months when you see like Common America you know, really start hitting more and more popularity in Japan, ask
Yeah.
me, hey Tyler, what can I do to talk with Tim to get him to show me how to do the Japan stuff or to get into Iconics? And like one, I'm like, how about you go freaking go talk to him, talk to them about that. But then two, like, and I think this is a big problem with the indie scene is there's a lot of moochers.
Yeah, unfortunately.
There's a lot of moochers who like I remember talking to Tim and he was saying that there were people in the indie scene that you and I know that saw them at a convention, went up to them and said, "Hey, love what you guys are doing," even though like their Twitter sphere would say the complete opposite. And be
Oh,
like, how do I get into like immediately it wasn't like, hey, let me get to know you. Hey, let's hang out. It's give me your information. Like, let's talk business immediately.
no, they
And
didn't set up a rapport.
yeah, exactly. And I think that's so disingenuous. I was telling the people who are like, Tyler, would you ever talk with Tim about like I never want to talk with like Tim and I whenever we've talked, like we probably talk like one or two times a year. It's always about personal stuff. Like what we're going on in our personal life. We very rarely talk comics. And I would never want to feel like I'm a moocher.
I think that's also just the idea of having respect for mutual networking people around you. Like, I think there's been talks in the past about like, obviously there's tiers and ranks of creative levels. Like, okay, obviously we're nowhere near the League of Boom, IDW in terms of indie perception, but there's even just certain people like, man, do I give up my resources to you? Do I then tell you, or what are you going to do? Do I then lose that person for a month because now you're using that person? And I'm not saying that that's not ever going to happen, but and also just the dynamic of like, well, if I give up this printer, does this now slow down this whole entire
Yeah.
aspect of this? I mean, Comics Wellspring used to be like the number one place,
Oh, it
and then
used to
they,
be like in 2 weeks you
oh
got your book.
yeah,
Not
now you're
anymore.
lucky if they print it right.
Yeah, it sucks.
It does.
Like
It does.
waiting 6 weeks. Like they just sent me my digital proofs for Bullet Assassin yesterday, and I was like, "How did you guys get the pages wrong? They're numbered. They're numerically numbered from 1 to 20."
Yeah, you can't trust them right now.
And I'm like, how did this get? I'm like, how are you guys getting this wrong? So now what sucks is like that probably put me like in another week or two, deficit.
Yeah, just put it up on Amazon and screw it up yourself. Oh, you double page? Got 2 pages in the same spot? No problem. That's my fault.
Draw and
My bad.
talk. How many indie series do you and your interviewee read a year? That's a good question. What indie series are you reading? Do you read these days?
Crap. You know this. Okay, this doesn't sound bad. This is the first year I haven't. Well, no, I backed a few people. Who did I back? I just started backing a few people last month because I was like, I haven't kept up on anybody's, not a single person. Which is first year for me. I don't. What about you? I'm gonna pull up my list. Have you been reading
I'm
anyone?
literally pulling up my list right
I'm like,
now.
who did I read this year?
I mean, I've read. I'm up to date with all of your stuff. I
I gotta catch up. I am so bad. I have to catch up.
I've read all. I mean, I'm caught up with all the iconic stuff. Um, I'm caught up with all of Mrs. H's stuff. So she does like Captain Orange. She did this Penguin manga that. That's right. Like I think this is probably like one of the best books of the year, in my opinion. It's called My Name Is Jeffrey.
Wait, when did that come out?
It was an add-on one of her Captain Orange books.
Okay, there needs to be some sort of talk about having multiple books that aren't advertised in campaigns that are hidden,
Yeah,
because I don't see those.
like this, like I think she should do a full-on series just on My Name Is Jeffrey.
That would be sweet.
This is a fantastic book. It's the only one I didn't. I let my kids have the Captain Orange books, but then like they rip those books to shreds. So I'm like, okay, I'm keeping this one.
Yeah, it's hard to give kids stuff because you're like, oh.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, I always forget his name because I can never pronounce it. But the series, The Relentlessly Bullied Hero.
Oh, Hero Darky
I-
Dark.
Yeah. I've been wanting to check that out, so I back that. Otherwise, I've been reading the other indie. I was reading Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles recently, and
Oh, there you go.
can we consider? I still call those mainstream because
Mainstream.
we're indie, but
I enjoyed Black Phantom and Kid Squid by Chad Townsend. Jager Bomb by Donald DeLay. It's Fun to Kill People #1 by Stokes.
I love that name.
I like that one. I think the second one comes out next month on Kickstarter. I'll say Coins of Judas because I wasn't part of issues 3 and 4, but I thought they were very good.
I read those on Global Comics, and that blew my mind. The ending to it, I was like, oh, you leaving me right? Okay, all right.
It was good. Like,
gotta wait.
I had to tell Travis, I was like, man, dude, I'm like, still makes me so sad that I got kicked
The
off that
dynamic
book.
between the brother and the sister is my favorite part because I'm like, all right, I'm hooked.
It's
Okay.
it's so like Travis did
It's
such
good.
a good job with the siblings and the rivalries. I mean, he has a big plan. We've been talking about Coins of Judas.
I anything with that sort of supernatural edge, especially when people are hunting demons, you can just count me in, and that was like right up my alley, and I love that book.
It's a fun one.
The dude's mask is what really draws me in. It's got such a unique design to it. I love it.
Well, thank you, because that was like thank you, because I sent Travis like 20 designs. He goes, all these are shit, and I was like, ugh! So I drew that one.
Well, you got the better one then.
Let's see. I think those are the ones that.
Did you see this one that was, I think, a month ago, called The Band of the Crow? It was this.
Oh.
It was on Indiegogo and Kickstarter.
I did see it. I didn't back it, but I did see it. Did you back it?
I was so impressed because they were like.
It was like super cheap. What it wasn't.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna grab this. I gotta check this out. And then I realized this is what they wanted me to do. But the art was phenomenal. I was like, I don't even know what the story is. I'm gonna check this out.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like it's $3, so like,
Yeah,
I can't lose. Like I bought that, like from your boy Zach. What's his like?
Oh, his dollar one.
Yeah, I bought that. I got it like
Okay.
2.5 years later, but it was like, oh, I spent $1. So
It was that GI Joe sort of.
yeah,
book.
what is it called?
I don't remember what they call it. I could not watch or care about it.
Jawbreakers.
Jawbreakers, which is a cool title. It's just too bad it's from him.
Yeah. What are your plans, Nicholas, for 2025?
To not suck.
I dig that.
Yeah, to finish a book and hopefully move on to another one. But this is the first year I'm actually saying no plans. I'm just gonna get something done and see where it goes.
That's good.
2024 was such a learning year, being on shelves and then trying to up my art and learn about stuff, and got a lot of feedback this year. This year was kind of like, ooh, okay, need to work on some stuff. So trying to spend some time just going, all right, I had a really cool chance and maybe it will come again, but I need to definitely up my game because some people were very loud and clear. And man, when you're standing on the shelf and you're standing next to Ninja Turtles, you're standing next to Batman, and you're sitting there going, holy crap, I'm on the shelf and people are picking it up, and then people are looking inside, and you got like a 50-50 coin toss of people hated it or they loved. Or
how was that experience, by the way, of having Winnie the Pooh on the shelves this year?
So in comparison to being in Exciting Comics and having my covers be like the prominent one there,
Yeah.
having the dominant story in there, um, to just being kind of like a fly on the ceiling here, like where people are just passing by, they're like, yeah, whatever. Not being too much of eye candy. But Winnie the Pooh, just the name and title draws people in. It's got some of a virality to it, and that was quite an experience to go through. Um, I'm trying to. It was like months and months of nonstop, uh, little messages coming up, people on YouTube putting up on things, and the hardest part though is Xenoscope put out a book called Pooh versus Bambi, and it's its own take in its own universe. It's a 80s action sort of take on Winnie the Pooh. It's very far removed from the like anything you would know Winnie the Pooh. It just got the characters in there,
Oh my
mutated
gosh.
versions of them. I'm stealing their product. So, anyways, it was a big hit with a lot of people. Um, Not my cup of tea, and not what I personally would like. But the thing is, then it drew an expectation that people wanted a more of a take like that. Mine's meant for kids. Mine's meant for a fun, jolly, goofy time. Might deal with some serious topics, but it's more like in a Pixar sort of way. It's just funny. So when I got compared, I right off the bat, I was getting compared to this, compared to being compared on my own, and that was kind of a bit of a struggle out the gate. There was a lot of negative reception right off the bat, but it's somewhat petered out now that people are accepting it for what it is and not what they want it to be. That was kind of an uphill battle. I was like, God, this kind of sucks. But uh, it ended up kind of going better, and it's definitely found its audience. But for people that wanted like ultra violent, which still confused me, I'm like, I don't put Winnie the Pooh and ultra violent in the same paragraph or sentence with each other. So that was
I wonder if it was like you had the height of like that horror movie, and then
yeah.
you have Pooh versus Bambi, and so people go, "Oh, I guess Pooh is now synonymous with violence."
Yeah, and it all hit at the same time. Even though I've been out, I was there first. I've been out there longer, and it just, I unfortunately, I got it was like being in the same pool, and people were like, "Wait, what's this goofy looking? Who's this idiot over here?" And you're like, "It's me. It's me.
No.
Just me." Um,
uh
and then Winnie the Pooh covered in blood, because that was a major story point with the wolves attacking. Which I don't know. I didn't argue, but I wasn't. I understand why we made that first cover because I mean that pops out to you.
yeah, it does.
Um, but I still think it would have made a strong last cover. But
Yeah,
I
I
don't know.
think
That's why I
yeah, I
still
think this
struggle.
would have made like this would have been I think a good like first cover. Granted, Riding Hood isn't in the first issue.
Yeah, yeah. And I had to cut up stuff just to make it to the 40 pages that Ben asked me to put it into. Because originally, I mean, it was written for 50 pages and it had like one follow through story. So trying to get it to kind of curve the story to work within those means was a bit of a challenge. And I'm not really convinced I pulled that off. So I don't know. So some of the gripes people had would have been fixed in the volume version. But then some people didn't have those problems and it worked in the single issue format. But I know it's when we get to that last issue, I'm like, oh, it hinges upon the reveal that it's not ending or that I don't even know what I'm going to do next, if I'm just going to keep self-publishing it or what I want to do. I haven't really had any discussions in those areas yet.
Of like
So
if they're gonna do like 5 and onwards.
yeah, I haven't really talked about anything with anyone on that area.
Gotcha. I mean I can see why like this is a very compelling cover. I can see why it'd be best as a 4. I can see why that as a business they chose 1, and I can see how someone might see this and go, "Nice, this is gonna be super violent."
Yeah, yeah, and then other people are like, "Holy crap, what are they doing?" Oh man, so many people were so mad at that cover. I was like, "Well, I had cuter covers, but that's not really those don't sell." Like now being on comic stands and standing up against like the industry standard and going, "Yeah, yeah, I understand why we did that as the first cover now."
Yes, Alex and Mill, these are all on Amazon, so you can I'm gonna put the link in the chat.
I just put up the AP version reading order on there, um, and it's the actual cover that they printed. The Amazon's hard because it doesn't show up naturally. You kind of have to search for it.
This one?
And I need to, yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's the AP reading version, and it's collected and it's more. I guess from what I've been told is it reads more coherently, which is good.
That's always good.
Yeah, the original version was kind of a bit of a mess,
Never
or
frozen
it
meals
was like
are ready in minutes.
ideas, and
Factor
it
has
was
over
just kind of just
40
putting it
different
out
dinner
there
It's
into
like
the world and
protein
seeing if
plus and
we
calories.
could get the idea out there. But um, putting it out through AP's version definitely had to concentrate the story into a more coherent story. Which, if you hear the creator saying that it's a more coherent story, I'm sure that makes you feel very confident in the story. That's Wait, what does he mean it's more coherent now? What is he talking about?
You're like, I fixed it.
I fixed it. But I'm working on the second omnibus right now as I'm working on the fifth volume because, doing two things at once is always a smart idea.
Dude, I need to like sit down and just put my crap on Amazon.
It's worth it.
Just
No, I'm
just
sorry,
my,
everyone else. It's not. Stay off.
just my
Stay
Mega
off.
Fist, because those are the only ones I only want to do the volume. Like, do you do the Kindles for all the? Do you do the Kindles
Yeah.
for like the chapters for the issues or just the graphics?
No, I leave that on global.
Okay.
I'm gonna test out an idea next year where I might do chapters because I'm thinking of just completely ditching crowdfunding and just going straight to Amazon, and then
Oh.
it's such a because the variant game is the stories that I'm telling are meant for younger kids, and they could care less about variants.
Uh-huh.
And so it kind of comes down to like, well, what am I doing all these extra covers for? Why don't I just give them the story? And that's what it ends up always being is we just want the story. So I'm like,
Yeah, like
well,
what's this? What's like? Is there a human?
that's Tigger.
This is Tigger.
Or okay, so they're anthropomorphic creatures in this.
Yeah.
They're not actually stuffed animals. And slight spoiler in my version, they are still stuffed animals.
So you because like these two, I'm like, okay, these are animals, and then now I've got a human.
Yeah, they were originally human. I could be totally messing up. Maybe some of them weren't human and some of them were. I was a little confused when I only skimmed it.
Interesting.
I could be very wrong, but not my cup of tea. But it doesn't mean that other people won't enjoy it. I always feel that as a creator, my job isn't to tell you what you should or shouldn't like. I'm just merely prefacing that it wasn't my thing, but it might be yours. I'm definitely not advocating that you don't check it out. I think you should if this looks good to you.
So you're thinking just like screw what's up Tizcock Tizok word? Tizcock Tizok. What's up, Sketchasar? How you doing, man? Pooh versus Goku next. What do you? Yeah, so 2025. You're like just get the books out. You're thinking just like going straight to Amazon, not the crowdfunding thing.
I might like the Popeye idea right now. I'm just kind of sitting here going, well, do I even need to use crowdfunding?
It might be good just to like get some cash though.
Yeah, the upfront part. But then I just don't want to. I don't want to end up putting all these little 20-page things or little things here. And
that's fair. I will say like the sucky thing about the whole crowdfunding thing is like I finished Bullet Assassin. Then you have like it takes me like 3 months. Like, you do the campaign for 30 days, and then it takes you maybe like 60 to 90 to finish the book, and then you have to wait another 30 to 60 days for the printer.
Yeah.
And plus fulfilling, and so like each book is like a 4-month ordeal.
Yeah, I mean you're stuck sitting there waiting for things to just turn and move, and then in crowdfunding it's kind of frowned upon to just like move on to the next thing. What do you mean you don't have your thing done? Well, it's done, but it's
like I've been sitting on My Sexy Witch Academia 3, and I finished Super Plumber Sisters 4. Like, at least we had the line art done like a month and a half ago. So I'm just sitting on stuff waiting for the crowdfunded release.
The other thing I'm playing around too is just going straight free with all the chapters and just doing like the Shonen Jump model where it's free for so long and then they'll be locked or something. Just give people a chance to read it and experience it. And
dude, what do you think about this? I've been thinking of putting, because right now volume 1 of The Girl with the Mega Fist is for free. I need to think about like putting out Volume 5 is a new arc. I'm curious how many people are going to return for Volume 5 for Girl with the Mega Fist, because it's a new arc. It's a great time to just jump ship. But then also for new people, for new readers, it's like that's daunting.
Yeah, because I mean that's 4 previous books before that.
Yeah, so I'm like wondering. I'm like, I've been thinking of putting out volumes 1, 2, and 3 for free, like on my website. Like I saw this. Sakamoto Days.
Okay, and this brings up the question too: does free reading convert sales?
I believe it, but I mean, but I think I think it's a.
Because I'm not telling anyone that my book got pirated over the weekend, but I might be telling you my book got pirated over the weekend. And I'm waiting to see if it converts anything. And I went and actually started talking to people. And let me tell you, it's really fun when the people are consuming free things, and then the creator comes in and starts talking to them. And then some of them just got really bashful. They're like, "Oh, I'm not reading it for free. What can I?" I'm like, "Yeah, hi."
All right, so okay, so there's this site. It's oh really? I just removed it. So it's SakamotoDaysManga.com. And
Oh, for real?
oh frick.
You can meet mature women today? Holy crap,
I
cool.
love how mature
Oh,
women
no,
is.
not
I
cool.
love how mature women starts at 25 plus.
How old does that make us
I
then?
know.
Am I mature?
So like, and you can read all the chapters. You just like you can read like, gosh. Okay, so if I do this, my site won't have all of this. So
And
like,
is this done by the actual creators or the people that like visit that, or is this someone's pirated site?
I have no idea.
This might not be an authentic site. The pop-ups are making me think otherwise. No, because Dan to Dan had something similar. I don't think that was actually
Dude,
authentic.
all the Shonen Jump sites, all the Shonen Jump books have a site that's like this. I don't know if they're allowed. I don't know like who owns it, but they,
This can't be real. I'm feeling I'm this is kind of feeling a little sketchy.
that's fair. But I guess my point is like I've been thinking of just doing this with the Girl with the Megafist though, like something like this
Yeah.
for volumes 1, 2, and 3, and a little pop up that comes up that's like, do you want to join the Girl with the Megafist reading email list? And
I think there's something to be said even about those long-term webcomic creators that have spent years cultivating a reading audience, and then they finally come to Kickstarter, and then they're just like hit hundreds of thousands on their on their first book, and they're like, "Yeah, that was me," and they're like, "Oh man, maybe I'm going about it wrong."
does that piss off though someone who like, let's say, does it piss off the person though who has bought the digitals of volumes 1 to 4 on Growth the Megafist, that now they're like this? And then for volume 5, do I just start uploading them all for free?
Yeah, that's a hard part. I think you could probably do like a poll and ask like, would people be okay with it? I couldn't imagine. So here's the deal: is you're not working in collectors. You're not trying to foster a collector's sort of.
No.
And I think they would be like, no, don't do that. But I think since you're cultivating readers, to be like, heck yeah, what another place to go read it at?
Chat, those of you who have read The Girl with the Megafist, would you would you want, like, instead of me coming out with, you know, once a year, this one release dump where I go, hey, here's 15 chapters, boom, done, read it. Would you rather that, or it's just or to me to release the chapters out as I go? Like, would you keep up with that?
Well, what when you were doing the 10 chapters per a week, was that on Patreon?
Oh yeah, I was doing a chapter every 2 weeks on Patreon.
2 weeks. There's got to be something to that again. Like I'm trying to make my Patreon $1 just to foster some like more reading, and I changed the name of it because having the old link to old names doesn't work.
I need to just delete my Patreon and start a whole new one.
Don't do that. Just put a new name on it.
There's all these like I think I just need to sit down. There's all these new it's Patreon is now built out like OnlyFans, and it should have been built out like OnlyFans originally. Like, you should, like, now you can follow people for free. They should have had that feature a long time ago.
Yeah, you can use it like a newsletter now.
Yeah, they should have had that a long time ago.
Yeah.
Let's see. So like, this is what
I'm opening up a OnlyFans called Comics and Thongs.
So yes, this is what my Patreon would, like, every 2 weeks, like, this would come out. So I kind of did something like it.
Yeah.
Where like,
I just remember there being a lot of excitement and energy, like people reading it every 2 weeks, and it gave them something to look forward to.
and then it would take you to this thing. I would have a little like editor's note.
And it fostered that manga feel. It had that sort of drive to it. I'm debating on doing that with Snow White when I finally get to that point. but it's just a matter of like what's the best way to present the story and tell it to people.
Yeah. I mean, with the Sakamoto site, I mean, this is very mobile friendly because it's just scrolling, you know?
Yeah. Well, and if you're trying to just cultivate readers, I think it's then doing it through the means that they can interact with you, be updated and stuff. Because if they can't roll into a newsletter or be notified of like, hey, here comes the physical, and I'm gonna head over to Webtoons too. I want to start putting up something on there.
Check out that good old Webtoons.
Get that Webtoon money.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe I should. Maybe I should do something like this again on the site.
Is Webtoon still popular? I'm so not in that zone anymore. People still do that. Do people still do the Webtoons?
Yeah, dude. The creator of True Beauty just came out with like a new one. Um, dude, this Sub Zero book I have seen on the front page for like 10 years.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, I read this book. This book was trash, but it was kind of good. I'm the queen in this life.
You know, it's funny when we talk about like the comic industry is so divisive right now. Like you can read a manga and you'd be like, yeah, manga's everything. But when you get in the comic industry, you're like, no, if girls want to read comics, they gotta go to Webtoons. If guys want to read comics, maybe they go to the comic shop. We don't know anymore. Maybe manga. They're somewhere in there.
Yeah. Let's, I mean,
Every time I'm like, I'm gonna make a Webtoon, and then I'm like, no, I'm not. No, I don't have this in me.
this is. I mean, I like Webtoons doing another competition. I'm just like, man, like this is. It's so much work.
Oh, and here too, if you draw anywhere anime Webtoon style, your classic comic book fans will just straight up hate you.
Yes.
Like, there's no getting around it. People like the art sucked, and you're like, but the people on the internet liked it.
Yeah. I mean, like classic comic fans look at this and go, "This is absolute dog shit."
I remember one review I got when I was like, I'm drawing in an intentional anime cartoonish style, and people were like, we hated it because it was cartoon. I was like, well, I can't win, dang it. One guy's like, it's nothing like Pooh versus Bambi. One wanted a realistic Boo ripping off people's faces. Like that's not gonna happen.
Let's see. If it ain't at least bi-weekly though, you will lose my interest. Okay. Neostar, I kept up with the girl with the mega fist for a while, even after losing some favorite characters, but ultimately my schedule became too busy to stick with it. That's my thing as well. Um, I mean I'll put it out there, but it just depends on who's reading it, and then you have audio, and then you have to like I binge read most of my stuff now. Like I'm like, oh, okay, it's been like 6 weeks I haven't caught up. Now let's binge read.
Is that because we're dads though? We don't have time to binge read.
Maybe, like, yeah, maybe that's it.
I'm like, I'm lucky if I get to sit down and read for like 15 minutes. Oh, someone spilled their water again. Gotta go take care of that.
Wow, this one's. When did this one start? I did a YouTube video on this like last year. Yeah. This is still good.
Okay. That's the crazy thing too, is jumping around from series to series, and then watching other people sticking with one thing. Like, oh man, I've got 3 volumes of 3 different things. And they're like, I'm on volume 60, and you're like, how did what?
Yeah, like how did you get that, dude? Okay, the thing about as well, people don't realize about like Webtoon. This hair is just a brush.
Yeah.
This rope is just a brush. This pattern is like everything is just drag and drop. This like they didn't draw this eye. They just boop.
Yep.
Pop that in there. Boop boop. Pop that in there. Like it's so. This is just a brush. This is a brush.
60 panels, like what, a week?
Yeah, I mean, talk about everyone's mad at Eric July for 3D assets. This whole background
The
is a 3D asset. This part
drives me nuts because like even Marvel was using 3D assets. They were using SketchUp for the backgrounds and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I just don't understand some of the complaints. It's like, okay, I guess I get confused because those that read it for the art, okay, I guess I can understand because you're expecting some sort of high industry standard. But then I remember editors way back in the day, when like during Stan Lee's bullpen days with like Jack Kirby, they would argue with the artist. The artist would be like, I need to put in all this detail, and then the editor would be like, well, I have to put out a product. And then they would fight over like, well, you know, I don't want to put out a subpar product. And he's like, well, at the end of the day, I got to make money. I got to put it out there. And there's always this dynamic of, does the art win over? Well, does it matter if we can't get a story out there and then you're behind and then people were losing readers? What does it matter if the art's up to par if we're losing people? Which now it seems to almost have switched. If the art's not on par, then we lose readers. There's a confusing sort of metric there.
Yeah, dude. Those anti Eric July people would shit their bed if they saw how this panel was made.
I don't think they would even read this.
No, they wouldn't even come close.
Even
Uh,
step.
we got Tim in the house. Common America. I just tuned in. Aren't you gonna put a QR code on your stream in case a lying narcissist decides to snipe you instead of working on his books? I know, right? Here's the thing. Luckily, we're not talking about EVS tonight. If he stream sniped this, he'd be really bored. He would have
We
to.
can make it even more boring.
He'd have to showcase some gay webtoons. And like, here's the thing. Like, this is still very good art.
I like it.
I wish I could do this.
I know. I'm just sitting here going like, oh, how did they get that? How did they get the light on there? And then we'll watch some guy over there. He's like, I just did this with my brush real quick, and be like, oh, dang it,
dude. I'm not even like now. I'm at the title sequence. So there's
wait, what? Oh, jeez, you are. Oh my
so
gosh,
that was like 30 panels and like
that must have been all from the last one though, because they'll reinsert it sometimes.
This is so much. I mean, the nice thing about webtoons for most of them is you just have to draw people talking.
Yeah, there's very little action.
Yeah, it's all drama.
Yeah,
and like you just have to make him look good. Like he just looks good.
It's frustrating.
It's frustrating. Oh man,
it's so simple yet, but the time constraints on it though. Like I don't think we could be in that field trying to do that. Get 60 panels in a week and then write it again. You and me were trying to go back and forth and actually trying to do the manga, sort of like we're gonna get it done this week.
Oh my gosh,
we're gonna get it in.
It was so hard,
dude. I got so sick at the end of that. And I looked at my wife and I was like, it was worth it. She's like, are you an idiot? I was like, a little bit. Might be. She's like, you're hacking up a lung. I was like, yes. But I did it for notoriety, and then I had nothing to show for it.
Tim, we did talk about Iconic Comics though.
Very negatively. Just so you know.
I was telling them. I was telling them about the people who have like reached out to you, reached out to me, who have been like, "Yo,
yeah,
how do I get in with Tim in Iconic so my stuff can be in Japan? How do I extract this information?"
You said you weren't helpful.
Yeah. Or and then the two people were like, "Tyler, join Iconic," and I'm like, I can't keep up with those guys.
And we were like, "No, we're West Coast and they're East Coast."
Also,
they're all about that Jay-Z life.
It's all about that transactional relationship with these creators, man. Like, what are you gonna do for me?
Like, you scratch my back, I scratch yours.
Yeah.
But yours way worth more value than mine.
Yeah. Did you know though that there is in Common America though an Easter egg for Girl with the Megaphist?
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Which volume?
Oh man, hold on. Let me. Frick. I think I saved it at one point. It was a long time ago. It was a long, long time ago. There's like this redheaded journalist, and she's got like this conspiracy whiteboard.
Oh, that one. Oh, dude, that was fun.
And yeah, at the top, like right, there was something about the Girl with the Megaphist. There was a Girl with the Megaphist thing in there. Aljamain was like, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't remember what volume it was.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. That was last year, wasn't it? No, 2 years ago.
Oh, I found it. Let me pull it up.
Hey, is it bad when we're referring to things that happened 2 years ago?
No.
Right? Yeah, that one.
Yeah, so like right here, there's Girl with the Megaphist is right here.
Oh yeah. Was that the ball, the bale?
Yeah, I was talking about like, let's see, mysterious something god Elohim. I forget. I can't read it.
Yeah,
it's 2 because I got this from my phone. So when I get asked when's Girl with the Megaphist in Common America, I'm like, it's right there. I already did it. Check.
See, Tyler, what you missed him, especially if you catch this on the replay, is Tyler at the very beginning of the stream, about 5 minutes in, said that he's doing his own crossover without your permission with the girl with the mega fist. He's just gonna do it.
I just was yeah. So yeah,
Yeah,
Volume 5. Now that Eliana's on Earth, she just meets up with
yeah,
Carly. So that's who trains her how to fight.
yeah. He said he's doing 3 issues of it, and he said you were cool with it, even though we didn't talk about it.
Yeah. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, he was gonna put your and Mark's names on it, just to be nice.
Dreaded Dinosaur. This is Eric Hodson. Silly me drawing my entire webtoon from scratch and making it action. Yeah, dude, you're playing yeah, you're playing the hard game. Sketchstar. Eric made a big lie about selling something of quality and inspiring heroes. It's cheap art that doesn't look good, a coffee cup castle and such. His heroes are all miserable people. I will say, okay, so I don't think that using 3D assets cheapens the art. That's my personal opinion. However, I will agree that his heroes are all pretty miserable. Like the Horseman is miserable. Isom is miserable. So they
I
are.
guess when you spend that much time in indie comics, you do become miserable.
That's fair.
He's like, oh man, I gotta deal with these people.
Metal movies and brewskis. For a new creator, what is more successful? A creator that does a weekly strip or a creator that drops a picture a week? That's up to
What is a picture a week?
yeah. I think it's up
Is
to
that
you. I think it's
like
up
a
to
panel?
you. A panel or a pinup. I think at the end of the day, like what's successful is what's like gonna what's making you happy, but then also what's building your audience. So like, dude, I'd love to make I want to make a strip. So like what I'm doing, Nicholas, you know that I have that secret channel, YouTube channel,
Yeah, the cooking
the
channel.
cooking channel.
Why are you laughing? That's what it is. That's what you showed
Yeah,
me.
and I'm adding a
Cooking with Tyler.
I'm adding a new quote unquote character to the cast.
It's vegetables.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going vegan,
A
right?
co-host,
Oh,
to the
doing the Veggie Tales. Okay.
yes, and and it's just gonna be like, hey, it's Tyler, and then it's like, and so hi, and they don't really appear, but then the goal is to say, hey, sign up for the newsletter because that, and then there'll be a strip each week of like my character and this new anime girl who works at the restaurant at the cooking show we do, and
Knew it.
and she's and like that's where we're talking about this the food that we're making and stuff. But I want to do that in like a so like when you join the newsletter, you get like a weekly like strip.
That's really smart.
But I want to draw. I want to draw it in a way where I can draw like 20 panels. Like I just have these 20 panels that I can interchangeably use, so
Oh
that I
yeah,
can.
yeah, yeah.
But I can just change the dialogue every time.
And there's something to that because like when you go back to old Sunday, I'm sorry, like old newspaper strips, like the original format of like the 4 panel comics.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, like just doing research on Popeye, it's really funny how like okay, so when Popeye was being published in like 1920s to 1930s, they had to produce a page with like maybe 5 to 4 panels a day, and it's funny how like it's almost similar to like how webtoon creators have to do it now, where like they have to like you got to have something on that page per day to keep people going. And it's funny how we've almost somewhat gone circular with that sort of notion of people wanting at least some form of content or something silly to read. But the story moves like at such a snail pace. But by the time that you collect it like an actual comic book, it tells a really well thought out narrative story. But can you imagine having to have a thought out story for like every single day?
No, that would suck.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like even just Popeye's original tales is really interesting how like the story has to move at a certain. There has to be something happening on every page. Like something has to dynamically happen, and there has to be somewhat of an overarching story where they're after something, but you might not get there for like 6 months.
Like I think of like those Calvin and Hobbes books.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
looking at them now in like their trade format, you go, "This is great. This is legendary." But like those used to be just like strips, daily strips.
yeah.
I honestly think that. And after reading, did you see that Matt's latest video where he talked about Bone?
Yeah, I got halfway through it and I got depressed.
Dude, watch the full thing. But like, I loved like the talk of like the fact that like newspaper strips, those cartoonists were like they looked down on DC and Marvel because DC and Marvel were corporate, whereas
Yeah,
whereas the strip guys they owned 100% of their work, and those guys were millionaires. Like, dude, the guy who does Dilbert is like a bajillionaire.
yeah, that dude's also crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he is a maniac, but he is rich.
I mean that in the nice way. I'm
Yeah,
just not sure that he's because
he's
he's so
rich, but
he's rich. Yeah, I'm
but
not gonna contest that at all.
but he has. I remember he tweeted something out like a couple years ago. And I'm like, God
It's like, don't change
damn.
it, man. Let the dogs. He's got a dog in him, man.
Yeah. But like, and there's something. I think there is something to it about these slice of life strips.
People like people like stuff that they can relate to, stuff that they can like sit back and relax. Like was that like Netflix has comfort shows where the
Yes.
characters are just saying what they're. I'm going to the bathroom now. Do. It's just
And all it is I think it goes back to what I was saying about that Taylor Sheridan is you're just invested in the characters, and when things happen, you just go, oh yeah.
well, and I think okay. So there's this point amongst creators and high reading or people that like take reading very seriously is we like to talk down to the basic level of what people enjoy, but like those low common denominators are there because people enjoy them. It's like when people get mad about cliches or TV tropes, it's like those are the basic structures. That's like what people go to because those are like things we rely on. I think it's just when it's done badly, people are like, "Oh, that sucks."
Yeah,
But
exactly. It's when it's done badly, then we go, oh, like the reason why
yeah,
you point to and go, this sucks because of this reason.
yeah.
Um, like here, here's two examples of like formats that I'm like every time I go every time I always my brain is so like go back to Kickstarter.
Yeah, and it's really kind of a Kickstarter has its a very built-in audience and it has a somewhat of a need for like if you're going for them. But like I think a lot of people forget like if you build elsewhere then bring them to Kickstarter, like that was the whole point of it.
Um, Hold on, I got people in my DMs saying that they're getting kicked out of the chat for saying negative stuff about Eric. We can talk as long as there's no swearing, no sex, no links. All conversation is fine, guys. So mods, it's all good. It's all good. Uh,
Wait, is this a negative Eric July channel? Where are we at? Are we supposed to bash him? I get so confused. I do
I,
not understand any. I'm so out of it when it comes to
that
any of
is
those
kind of okay.
conversations.
I will say like that's kind of like the what the reason why real quick the reason why that like Larry is currently on this tear right now against Comicsgate is because he went on a show not understanding like what the dynamic was, and it was and then it went to crap, and he didn't realize that these people were like the crazy Comicsgate people,
Oh no.
like the war campaign style people. And I've been on the stream with those people. They were very nice to me, but if you're not nice to them and you try to act a certain way, they will go crazy on you. And they went crazy on Larry, and then Larry went like, okay, well, I will match your crazy with my crazy. um and and so and instead of like fighting them, he just went to Ethan and Skyver. I'm like, no, why'd you go over there? Like he has no idea what's happening, and then he just like he had like
Oh,
a 1x problem turn into like a 10x problem by
okay.
doing that. But like yeah, like in indie comics you gotta figure out like what you're doing. I got another guys, I'm getting messages about people getting banned in the chat, guys. It's okay.
Is that why the chat's so slow now?
VNet mod. Can a mod tell me why we banned VNet Fad? Um, can we unban him if possible?
Also,
Unless he did something crazy.
I
Unless he did
here's
something
the
crazy.
crazy thing too. Like when you deal with the drama that's only on Twitter, I refuse to call it X. That's dumb. With Twitter, none of that really resurfaces anywhere else besides like the little islands on YouTube that people have. Like you go on Instagram, there's none of that. Facebook, I just still don't understand Facebook, but people are there and they do things, but it's not there either.
I do think though that like it's because it's less social. Like it's like in Instagram, like are people talking in the comments on?
Maybe I'm just not even part of those areas. I
I will
don't.
say the last time I ever commented on something on Instagram, my friend was like, "Yo, Tyler, this person thinks that like this talking smack about me on Instagram. Like, will you come in on the chat?" And I just went, "Yeah, send me the link." I didn't even look at the person's profile. I just went like, "Hey, why don't you like shut the fuck up? My friend Bo will beat the fuck out of you." And like I left and he was thanks. And then I started getting a bunch of hate on Instagram. I was like, okay, well, what's going on? And they're like, they go, you're talking to like a 13-year-old girl, right?
Oh
And I was
no.
like, wait, what? And like I went into the profile and it's like this 13-year-old girl who's like, I'm gonna be good at UFC one day.
Oh
And my
no.
friend Bo was like, your punches fucking suck. And I'm like, dude.
Hey, don't open up your messages right now. You got your window open. So, anyways, people, we're looking at some people kissing,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
it's
I've
romantic
I've been looking at like various people's
kissing.
like how they're posting their books on like social media. So
Yeah,
like she's
there's a way
putting
to do
out
it.
two panels per page, and this is just a strip.
Yeah, no different than your Sunday morning, your newspaper ones.
Exactly.
I'm old. I call them Sunday morning.
I know,
And
but like this is just like a strip, and you're like people are invested in you know
the side of the
this. Oh shit.
demonetized.
Let's see, Lisa. I've got something for you. Yeah, what's up? I've got a new outfit for you to try on. Oh my
And the
gosh.
guys are like, I got something for you too.
Oh, so like I think we're clearly there's some pages that are missing,
Hmm.
and I think on the side is when we try on said
That's the
lingerie.
Patreon.
That's the
That's the
that's the
Patreon.
Patreon. Damn it.
See, that's the problem with a lot of these is they end up being go tos for little in between things. So like they're for like OnlyFans basically.
But like I mean, like, even like them, like this is like they like this their cast of they have a cast of characters. Like this is so simple, you know. Work.
Yeah.
I hate working out. Need some help? Oh sure. How would you help me though? I'll hold your legs down and they kiss. Do that. I love working out. Done. 4 million views.
Yeah. And each one has to kind of like the first panel has to deliver an idea and then the last one has
And
to
then there's cardio in the Patreon, if you know what I mean. Right
yeah,
there.
lots of cardio.
Uh,
Okay, there has to be something said though about these people that port over with that sort of dynamic because there's a whole entire ecosystem within that too.
like what's she doing? 355 paid members,
Oh gosh.
starting
Hey,
at $1 to $5.
who was that one person? Samiki Chan?
Dude, where are they? Did AI art
They,
kill them?
they just like disappeared overnight. They used to be like every like on the feed. They were just everywhere. And then they went full blown into like the not for safe work stuff too. And I was like, oh, they went down that route.
Yeah, I don't know where they are. I haven't seen. I mean, here's the thing though, like that art style is so replicable by
Yeah, how,
AI.
how are those people surviving? Those people that got hit on that first wave, like, are they even maintaining?
Oh yeah, I have no idea.
Like, that's something that doesn't get brought up a lot. It was like the amount of artists that just got taken out in that first wave because that was such a dominant, popular style that now like AI completely owns that now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, here's another like this isn't necessarily a strip per se, but they do it in a they draw this in a square, so they can keep their pages in a square,
Oh yeah, yeah,
and then it's perfect. It's like it's made for social media, you know.
yeah. Okay, as much as how do how do these people make so much money? How are these people getting so much money for this?
Well,
We're sitting out here going like we're making scratch, we're making dollars, and they're like, yeah, I live in a mansion.
wow, this 1,000 paid members. Only two, everyone's on that dollar tier, dude. This
Yeah,
they've got to get this 1,000 over to the $4 tier,
there's
and
also something to be said about like when like some fans go dormant, like they're just there, but they're never interact ever again. You're like, oh, what if they
that dude,
see me?
that's my Patreon. Like, there's just it's the lot. I think the people who are there just forgot that they're getting billed every month.
Yeah, yeah. And I always feel bad because I'm like, hey, there's two people that are interacting on mine all day, or like once a week, or once a month. I'm like, wonder what happened to the 30 other people? How are
Sketch
they doing?
Sketch this is depressing. I hate how well that does. It's it's well done though. Like one thing about like this that I can say is like it's not done. This isn't done poorly. This is really well
No,
drawn and colored. Um, this is a good strip, I think.
no, it's presented well. I mean, you can't argue against the presentation and how it's doing it, but my goodness, it's depressing when you realize you're like, oh,
I mean, but I mean, this goes with this isn't that like deep story, you know.
no, no,
This isn't that like really big narrative story that's like getting you from beginning, middle to end. This is
yeah,
Friends. This
absolutely,
is a sitcom.
yeah. It just blows my mind. There's people that will go, yeah, I'll pay for that,
That
and
yeah,
I'm not trying to knock that at all. I'm just saying, not my personal taste. I just am crazy how that's a large amount of people that do that,
uh
and then I always go, well, maybe I want to do that, and then I go, no, I'm gonna get killed in the middle of the night.
huh.
There's gonna be a pillow over my face.
Yeah, I mean, that's really all this is just a sitcom. This person created 4 or 5 characters, and now just the readers are invested in these characters, and then
Yeah,
they just throw these characters in random scenarios every week.
it's yeah. I guess yeah.
What if they went to the cafe? What if they had a foursome? What if they
That does sound like Friends. Actually, the more you say
Yeah,
that,
it's just Friends. Like
it really
or
is.
just the Big Bang Theory. Like, um, you could do this with AI and make bank.
So many people are doing that. That's okay. And that also brings up the question: if more people are becoming less um, adverse towards AI use in a lot of these places, it's like then okay, is there a separation between people that are willing to consume that on some sort of level, and those that just will utterly not?
Oh
Like
yeah.
those people that are buying AI comics on Kickstarter, I'm like, the presentation makes no sense. And then you can look at 250 backers. My bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Like I saw one the other day and I was like, "Oh, this is hot garbage. Who's doing this?" Like
Yeah,
30,000. I'm like, you know, as a creator, if I was bringing 30 grand a month on my AI comic and
yeah.
any other creator was like, "Well, you know that's AI," I'd be like, "Shut the fuck up.
I was like,
You shut the
yeah,
fuck up. I'm 30 grand a month on my Kickstarter. Shut the fuck up."
just give them the middle fingers. You drive past in the Ferrari.
Yeah,
Yeah, whatever.
exactly.
That's the hard part though about like the merit of creating versus the act of making money off of it. It's like, okay, you want to do it a certain way, but at some point you got to pay your bills.
Yeah, I mean, there is you do have to you do have to like have this like I think in an indie like I think you do what you can with the resources that you have. So like for me and you, like we have the ability to draw, so like that's not a resource that we don't have a scarcity of.
Right.
But maybe I don't have time to draw a nice background, so maybe one day maybe there's like really good AI and I will say I have used AI on Super Plumber Sisters. I'll show you the exact page. Hold on. And I'm gonna get canceled.
We're going to shun you from the group that doesn't exist. And here's the other part too is like once you start using tools outside of what people deem okay, and it's like, does it matter if you get shunned from some people if people still buy and you're still fulfilling the need of telling stories?
Yeah, I mean, like
I mean,
I'm very open with the fact that used I use 3D assets and brushes.
yeah,
Um,
I'm
so
playing devil advocate because I really don't care.
okay, so right here, this table was made by a 3D AI. So it was this AI program, and it could make 3D objects. and import them
Okay,
as a
that's
PNG.
useful.
So I could not like, so like yeah, I just was like, oh, I want to see if like it can actually do this.
Mhm.
So I just like typed in like dining room table, and it like 20 minutes later gave me like a dining room table OBJ file. I was like, let's see if it's compatible with Clip Studio. Put it in. I'm like, oh, well, I have been struggling with getting this table in here, so let's just plop this in, see if it works. And it did. I went, okay, that's cool.
Do you think people would have less of a problem with it if it was just simply your own work, and then it was like posed through it to make it look more high skilled or like add more details to it,
Oh,
and just
like
like
if I like it put this into AI and then it just made it
yeah,
look way like I don't know nicer.
yeah, or like even added splashes of color to it or something.
I
Do you think
don't
people would
know.
have? Because I mean, like that's what some of the things they're doing in the animation industry right now is like they're doing those in between fills.
F as AI.
Yeah, and it's just like adding those frames in there instead of someone hand drawing it.
Yeah,
So
because
it's like less,
there's like that AI anime coming out soon.
yeah, it's
Uh,
like dog crap.
yeah, I don't know. Like, but then it goes to the fact that it's like, what do like? Let's say I threw this into an AI filter and it polishes it up. Does that make it lose its authenticity?
Yeah, I guess that's a good
Like
question.
what? Like it does it make it lose? Does its imperfections make it special?
Yeah, because at some point it kind of gets tiring looking at things that are just purely perfect. Because sometimes it's really fun to see some of the mistakes or the blotches or the like when you go to a museum and you're seeing the Renaissance painters and their work, you like seeing the techniques they use to bring about those results. But I don't know if modern audiences even care about that.
No, they don't. They just like
They
looking
really
at
don't.
it.
Yeah.
They just like looking at it. I mean, look at something like dude, Jujutsu Kaisen had a lot of really bad pages.
Oh my gosh, it was so hard to look at
Yeah,
sometimes. You're like, what is going on here?
there were some talking scenes where you're like, why does Itadori look horrible?
Why is his eyes on top of his forehead?
Yeah, like everything was so bad. And so it's like, but does that but if you threw it into AI to have it fixed, does that take away from the fact that you're looking at this page and you're just going, yeah, this is a mangaka who probably had a really bad week.
Okay,
And
on top of that, talking about pressure as a creator, like when it just suddenly just hits you, like, okay, Jujutsu Kaisen Engage probably had what we've seen next to My Hero Academia in this last 10 years had like the most amount of pressure for people's expectation of stories in terms of like what the results were going to be, what people wanted it to be. And obviously you can always go, I don't care. But at some point when you have that millions amount of people yelling at you and the pressure starts hitting you, like you have to deliver.
yes.
To me, that's something I never ever experienced until this last year, where people are not only excited for what you're doing, but now they have expectations of how you deliver. Not what they want to see in the story, but hey, that next story better be just as good as the last one, or I'm gonna hate you. Like I got frozen in time for a bit where I was just like, I don't think I can deliver. I don't think I can. If I put out something crappy, I don't think I can measure up. I don't
That
know
sounds
if I've heard
horrible.
many creators, especially in our space, talk about the fact of delivering and then something crappy coming out or not putting out something to people's expectations or wowing people.
I had it with, and I had it with, and it was forever ago, because everything else I've put out since has been perfect. Um, is
I hear you.
I got horrible reviews on Demons Volume 3,
Mhm.
where they went, wow, like this series ended in the worst way possible, and I went, oh frick, like I was tearing up when I wrote that final scene, but
Oh my gosh. Yeah. How about when you spend time and you're like beefing up the story? You're like, it's gonna be amazing. Everything's awesome. And then finally people get in their hands. You're like, that was the worst piece of crap I've ever read. You're like, well, okay, well,
yeah, I
how do
mean,
I explain that?
let me see if I can pull up the like like someone did I think I said it earlier, like someone did like a horrible review on my comic. um I'm not like mad about it or anything.
I mean, they come and go. You can only do so much with them.
Yeah, like it's just part of it.
Right.
How do I see the people that I subscribe to on Substack?
And speaking of like getting bad reviews, you know they're going to come, and you kind of anticipate. But as you're reading it, it's like you can kind of feel your insides turning. You're like, ugh. Well, that sucks.
Yeah, like sometimes if it does happen, I just go like, um, you know, you're right. Like,
Hmm.
if it was a good call, I'd be like, you're right. Like that sucked. I did a bad job.
That's worse when like it hits hard and you go, I can't deny what they said,
Yeah. Like I
and
just
it's
would be
like,
like,
oh
yeah, that
crap.
like yeah, I just would be like, yeah, that sucked. I did a really bad job. And
And then you sit there going, how did I let that go? How did I mess that up? I checked that over 5 different times. Oh, the worst part too is when you get grammar mistakes by and you've had like 5 passes through, and
I
you're
know
like, yeah,
you're
it's
like,
all good.
fuck, really?
And it's like, you need to do another proof, and you're like, this is not. I've done 6 to 7 already. God dang it.
Uh huh. I'm just like, dang it, like this is how I got. This is how did I miss that? That I do. I will say a grammar mistake does piss me off.
Oh, and it's so easy to miss.
Let's see. All
But
right.
my English is very good, so there should never ever be a worry in that area.
Jobby's manifesto.
Yeah, there's very little talk about like when the pressure to deliver on something hits, because like, okay, you've had like, I would love to hear from the Con America guys, because I know there was one volume, I think it was the fifth volume, where the reception to it was mediocre, and their response was like, hey, it sounds like we didn't hit the mark with you guys. We're going back to the drawing board to see what did we do and what do we need to address. And I always kind of sat there going like, how do you go from like, hey, we hit a bit of a bad spot, but we need to now kind of do better with the next one.
Oh
And then,
yeah, because they
you
they
remember
they
that?
even like I remember Tim came on the show and was just like, we stopped and rewrote everything. Like we had to refigure out like everything because we fucked up volume 5 or something.
Yeah, and I remember just like a lot of people were not as impressed with that. But guess what? Now, because it's part of a larger narrative, it's seen as just kind of like this slower part of the story, and it's not everyone's favorites, but now it's just put in like, it's not looked down as largely as it was before, because it's in a larger collection now.
Yeah,
So I think I just solved my own problem as I said that out loud.
but but I mean that's the thing is like you just have to like you have to ride with it and just
Yeah.
be like this didn't hit the way I wanted it and I'm gonna course correct and like address those or like address it.
Yeah, and I guess too, some people are going to drop off, but that's my biggest worry too. Is like, as a consumer of something, I hate it when it's like something doesn't get good until the very end, because all they are doing is building up pieces, and then you
Mm-hmm.
have that big crescendo. Like, I always hated that saying of like, oh, I'm only giving this anime 3 episodes. Well, God dang it! If I stopped with Demon Slayer after like the first volume, I'm like, man, I never would have hit some of those amazing moments that happen later.
Um, let's see.
That first chapter was dry.
Oh yeah, I did. I will say I don't personally like Demon Slayer. Like I read the manga all the way. I was like, oh, I hate
the
this.
the manga's art is terrible, but I can enjoy the reading. I've only watched 1 episode of it so far, actually.
Oh, of the anime.
Yeah,
Anime's pretty good.
I need to check that out.
Um,
It's really hard to watch with kids around, though.
dude, I watched the first like 3 episodes by myself, and then my 2-year-old came in. Someone got their head cut off, and he
Oh
went and
no!
he screamed and went, "Oh, so you understand that? That's not good. Turn it off." It's like this isn't this. Who is Draw and Talk? Nate. I don't know where he gets. He calls me Nate. The rest of this. He is an indie comics creator and YouTuber. Tell me, have you ever wanted to look at bad pornography? Now imagine it is also a bad anime with no
Oh no!
animation. If you did, you would have Drawn Talks comics. Excuse me. His American manga will satisfy your niche desire.
Oh no!
And like
So this is someone that bought the book, then?
yeah. Um so they didn't like the story and then I mean, this was. I actually did get a couple questions. I don't do it in the in the other issues. This was trying to show like a passing of time.
Oh
These
yeah.
bikes, and they go, "Is he lazy? Did he forget to do narration panels?" I'm like, "No, it was a passing of time. Dang it!"
Isn't it? They put the
But the
browsers right at the
browsers,
bottom.
I just noticed
God.
that.
Oh gosh. Okay, at least it's a good roasting.
Yeah. There's some story, but like but then there was some like the reason I point this out, it's not like, oh look, this guy gave a bad review. He actually pointed out like something. So there's a part where this is Grukruk, this is the big bad villain of the story, and he meets Akari, blah blah blah. and they talk, and we see this dragon behind him. The Kari looks at the dragon. It was actually supposed to be Gruk, like on this panel, but we didn't. The artist didn't draw that. And then we see the dragon fly off, and he says, "I get that it leaves because she wouldn't win, but why introduce it? It was not present until this page and leaves the last page. Are you fuck? What? Our page is fucking missing. Like, this is my bad. We didn't show Gruk getting on the dragon and flying off.
Oh,
So it just looks
yeah.
like the dragon just randomly is flying off.
He's
For
like,
no
I'm
reason.
out of here.
Yeah. And so like now that I read that and I go, oh, you're right. This is actually a very poorly directed page. Because you're right. This is the only page that you see this dragon, and then it just disappears for no reason. And when really, Gruk is supposed to get on the dragon and then fly off. So like even in the bad reviews, there's still some like, you know, like this person just did not like the story, period. But like this stuff is actually very good criticism that I can go, okay, like that was actually
Yeah, that's
true.
technical stuff. And that's hard. I think that's one of the reasons why like it's kind of nice to lean towards internet read first, because then people can go, yeah, I like this story. It's what I'm expecting, instead of going in on a cover or some other premises and then they get the story and they're like, I really don't like this.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
Con America, we have a private group of people who we poll internally. The Japanese readers tend to be very honest with us with what they're expecting. Oh, that's very interesting.
Is EVS part of this private group? Need the constructive criticism. It seems like he would be well versed in that.
There we go.
Was that too soon?
No.
I feel like that's 4 years too late.
I don't know why he calls me Nate, because then he goes like, what if the Mario Brothers were girls? Nate. Well, there's also an anime called My Little Witch Academia that got crowdfunded. Harry Potter, but an all-girls school. It's not an all-girls school. Can you guess what Nate did? I don't know why my name's Nate.
Why is your Nate?
What if they were old enough to have tits? Nate.
Dude, you should on the next book have that on the back.
What if they were old enough to have tits, Nate? And so, but like I get it. Like I get why like they might hate the books they make. And like I said, I'm not saying these are 10 out of 10 masterpiece books. Like you like I write to have very fun. They're entertaining. Get in, get out. My most deep work is going to be The Growth of Megaphist. That's my most personal story. Everything else I do, like even then this is getting a little more serious, but and my artist constantly has to remind me to go, yo, you know there's supposed to be like hot girls in this, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry.
Now, does your audience get mad if you subvert and don't really go down that road, or if it's just like you don't really provide that part?
I had some people mad at Super Plumber Sisters because they thought that there was going to be sex in it, and we didn't. There's zero anything sexual in this book.
Aren't the girls sisters?
They wanted that.
I don't.
They wanted that. I got messages, people saying like, "How come they didn't have sex?" I was like, well, "What? They're sisters."
Dude, I'm not gonna. I know we shouldn't belittle readers, but no.
That's gross. Yeah.
No.
I had like 5 or 6 people going, I thought they were gonna like fuck, and I'm like, oh, whoa, gross, no. And then
you can't even go the other direction. It's like, well, it's the cousins. No, don't. No.
Yeah. And then like, well, they're stepsisters, right? Like, no, they're real sisters. And then like with My Sexy Witch Academia, there is enough like semi nudity and nudity in the interiors to like, and I never put them in. Like my artist has to go, hey, there was no nudity in this book. I'm redrawing this page. So like there's like scenes where they're in their bedroom and they're talking like the lore. What are they gonna do? And he draws them topless all the time because I don't have any other moments that would make sense to have a topless female.
That reminds me of old school like 90s anime.
Yeah, that's all it is. And he literally messaged me. I'll send him the thumbnails and the script. He'll go, remember, he always sends the message, you remember this book is called My Sexy Witch Academia. There's no sexy in this book.
You could always say that's just tongue in cheek. I had so many people mad at me that I called Winnie the Pooh Demon Hunter. They're like, where's the hunting? Where's the demons? And I was like, haha, gotcha. That's my bad. Yeah, and people are like, "Isn't it a horror book?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, about that. Joke's on you, it's not. But hey, there's a lot of giggling." And they're like, "I hate you." I was like, "Thank you." And they're like, "Why isn't Pooh ripping off someone's face?" 'Cause and then I'm like, "Because that doesn't seem appropriate."
Because it doesn't seem appropriate. I can see why someone would be like, "Yo, where is that?" Actually, now that I think about it, yeah,
It's
Nick,
very deceiving.
where is actually? I was like, just realized there is some hunting.
It's in the general terms, but then I realized that the story ended up going for a larger world narrative. I was like, "Well, there goes that idea."
Yeah, I'm actually trying to think like demons. Yeah, no, it was a
They
gingerbread
show
man,
up
the
for
first
10
one.
pages. 10 pages. And then I was like, "Yeah, I'm done with this idea." Anyway, so he's gonna go fight some werewolves now.
They're demonic.
The demonic.
Are you? Yeah, like, what are your plans next year for like? I know you said you're just trying to get like a book out. You're doing pop. Are you gonna do that Popeye one?
You know, I have the script written. I've got everything designed, but you know, you ever hit that point where you go, "This only serves 1%," and it's not hitting my creative bone. I would just be doing this out of mere obligation.
Yes.
And I kind of just went, you know what? I could do better. If I spend some time letting this cook, letting it simmer. It was actually my wife that came to me. She's like, "So you're just gonna make another Popeye book like everyone else?" I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, did you just hear what came out of your mouth?" I was like, "Yeah, Popeye book." She's like, "You're making a Popeye book." I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "Okay, see you in 2 weeks after you quit it." And I was like, "What? Oh crap."
Damn.
Yeah, she called me out on that pretty good. So I immediately halted production. I was like, "Nah, she knows me too well. I'm gonna stop and think about this."
That makes like, but there is those like we have those instances as creators where we're like, can I quick do like will this be like a quick like money grab thing I could do? And then like the moment you start doing it, and then you lose out on it. Like that feeling that you're talking about is the feeling I had with chefs.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to do this book as much as like I'm sure people would love for it to come back and do it. I don't want to do it. I would kill myself every time I wrote a script or drew a page.
Well, and I think also too, it's like at the end of the day, you would feel like it's not genuine, and it would lack some of that passion or luster. And
That's what happened with My Sexy Witch Academia chapter 1 was like I started drawing it cuz I was trying to make like I was trying to do this like, big titty magic parody book,
mhm.
and I was like the moment I drew the first page, because if you like look in the first what's it called, the first Kickstarter campaign, there's actually no full pages. It was just panels because I just drew
Mm,
random ass panels and like threw them up there and was like, "Do you guys want this? If so, I'll actually draw a book."
right.
Um, and so I'm like, okay, now I've got to draw this book. I start drawing page one, and I'm like, kill me, kill me if I have to. How many pages did I promise? 40. I promised 40. Um, like, kill me now if I have to keep doing this book. So I rewrote the whole thing. And I rewrote the pitch that was given in Kickstarter, the chapter one, is not the book that you got.
Mm,
Um, and like and then I found a different artist because I and who could meet the vision that I wanted for what it became after I rewrote it. But like, yeah, I feel that like if there's some books that I want to do, like I've gotten good reception on Peppermint Reload, like the concept art.
dude, that looked awesome.
I still haven't cracked the story yet.
Okay, there's something to be said about that. Of like when you find, okay, Kickstarter has made it really easy to just put up all the concept stuff, have like a preliminary idea on there, and then
Yeah.
you're kind of like, "Yeah, baby," and then you get like halfway through the story, you're like, "This sucks."
Dude, that's what happened with chefs. I was like, yeah, people love this. Fuck, I have to keep doing this story. This thing sucks.
I almost launched Snow White a month ago, being like, "Yeah, baby, we're doing this," and then I got like through my third draft of it, and I was like, "No, this actually sucks. I'm not doing this yet."
That is a problem with Kickstarter, is that you can throw up concepts that
Yeah.
haven't been worked out. Those concepts get validated,
Yep.
and then you either have to like put out something that like you don't believe in, or you quit it, or you fake it, and the work shows.
I think there's also a process where you have to not be excited by the idea. You have to actually spend time tearing it apart and being like, "Is this really worth my time?" Because I think as we talk about as being parents, or even if you have a full time job, you only have so much time. Doing multiple projects is fun. It is cool. People can get behind it, but at the end of the day, you only have so much time. and are you saying and doing what you really want to do with those things? Are you going to look at it 20 years from now and like, yeah, I'm really glad I did that?
Yeah, exactly. Like, is this something that is this a world that I want to play in forever?
Right.
And yeah, exactly. Um, Pixel Trader. Merkmaid was a shit post, but we had so many ideas it wrote itself. We want to do a second, but I'm really curious if anyone will want it after the first. I mean, you just gotta. I'm excited to read Merkmaid. I just think, yeah,
I think at some point you have to not care if people want to read it again and just put it up because, um, so like one of the things you'll discover is like a lot of people come for that first issue, and then there'll be like a parting of ways where the people are like, "Nah, I hated it." Those completely jump off, and the people are like, "Well, I want to see more," and then you have to cut that number in half. Hopefully not. If you do a superb job, maybe then everyone comes with you. Um, but then they go to second issue, and then hopefully you can keep building on that. Because I think that's something that gets lost a lot of times, especially in the current main day, where like now comics are only getting like 6 to 4 issues to tell a story, and it's like, man, we used to get 20.
and it's that does suck. How like
Yeah.
how short they are. I
You
remember.
can't tell a convincing story anymore.
I think it was like Outcast by Robert Kirkman, and everyone was like, "This is such a slow burn." And I think like when they got to issue 30, he was like, "Okay, now we're gonna talk about the plot." Um,
And yeah, there's something in that of being able to actually take your time. Like I was just okay. So during Christmas, we always watch Home Alone. Home Alone, the first movie, is just a classic to me, and our kids love it. But you know what? The good stuff doesn't happen until the last half hour. It's all built up.
dude, I was watching with my kids. I hadn't seen it like since I was a kid. I was
Yeah,
sitting there like, dude, when does when does the stuff? I could see my kids getting bored, and I
right.
was like, dude, when is this stuff gonna happen? You're right. It's all the build up.
Yeah, and as the director, the creator behind it, you have to almost be like, trust me, trust me. When we get to this point, you will be on the edge of your seat because it's all gonna hit. But it's like you have to have. You can't have, like we're in a day and age where instant gratification is so normalized that people forgot that you need to take. There's a slow approach to things. There's a point of like I always remember like in Neon Genesis Evangelion, the first episode does not start with a bang. It starts with a slow approach, and it's like these really still shots, and you hear like the echoes and the crickets and stuff in the background, and it's just like, but it's just quick shots of the dystopian landscape we're living in, and then that long elevator ride down to Nerve, and it's all in anticipation and build up towards like the giant robot fight. But like you have to take people into these worlds, and the problem is a lot of people, like as we have with Netflix right now, just I gotta do something else while I'm watching. I want background noise.
Yeah, they want
So
that instant
it's so hard.
gratification,
Yeah.
and you have to keep up with the story because like my thinking with a lot of things is like I only read Sakamoto Days because I saw a panel that shows up in like volume 10 of like a cool motorcycle chase scene.
Mm,
And it was that cool moment that made me go, "Oh, okay, I'll go check this out starting at volume 1." Or I see a really cool piece of artwork of Jujutsu Kaisen and it takes place in volume 15 and I go, "Oh,
yeah.
that looks cool. What is that?" Now I'm going to go to volume 1. Like I'm hoping that but you have to get to that point
Yeah. There's
with your
yeah.
story. Uh,
What in have you gotten to that point in Megafist yet, or are you still building towards that?
I think I'm building to that. Like one, I think my art hopefully like there'll be big moments in like volume 7, 8, or 9 or 10, and my art will be way better, and then I can show like this really dynamic scene, and maybe someone goes, holy shit, they posted about it, and then it can then spark a buzz. um
And that's the fun part about being a creator, of taking people on a journey with you. Is just kind of said like you get to look at them and go, trust me, just keep waiting, just come for the ride.
mhm.
It's coming. What sucks though is when you get to that point, and you're like, hey, and they're like, that sucked, and you're like, dang it,
my
but you suck too.
my thing as well is I'm gonna let you know, Tyler, when I get it. I know, dude. Blight Blazer has been so patient. I'm holding your copy right here, Blight Blazer.
Ooh.
My look at this, guys. It's all I got the final packaging boxes this afternoon, so I just need to make all the boxes, put them in the corner, and then buy the bubble wrap, and I'll be good.
Is there a
Um,
joke you can make about how you're actually fulfilling? You
I
have
mean, yeah, I mean, did you
a
see
joke.
that? Yeah, you saw that post of like EVS like streaming about me while I am streaming of me fulfilling books.
And I think I'll play devil's advocate here. I think there's nothing wrong with him wanting to do these giant magnum opus, these really well articulated, detailed, highly whatever books. Like he's I totally am okay with him saying he spent his year doing these like monthly books or whatever it ended up being, bi-monthly, whatever, and now he just wants to do these really intricate stories. I think it would benefit him though if he'd stop putting these dates that were a year out, or
Just say
showing
it's
more
gonna take
progress.
you 5 years.
I think what we've both seen though is like when people are late, if you keep them informed and going, yeah, I'm still working on it, just and showing progress, people are way more um,
Understanding.
understanding. But I think also when you have high bidding people that have paid a lot, people are less forgiving,
Like
especially when they
I've
feel like they're wasting
in
their
my
time.
Kickstarter updates for Megafist 4, I've like been the most like like bitch made. Like it almost sounds like I'm crying in every update because I'm like, I'm so sorry, blah blah. I'm working on it. Here's the update. Here's the update. Here's the update. And I just every time I do that, I get like so many private messages and in comments saying like, it's okay, don't worry, just keep it up. You're almost
Well, I
there.
think too when you tell people to like not worry, when at that point they've now given the money over. There's an expectation. There's been a transaction of now you're expected to do something. You said this is what it would take, and I think it's no different than when a contractor is working on something like, hey, we overestimated our time or underestimated our time. Here's a new time frame. It's communicating and not being it's being more transparent about it. I think as we can say from our position, who even cares? But I think just being transparent is just a good quality and it's good skill to have no matter what. People are less likely to take you and be like, well, where is it then?
Yeah, if you take someone's money and like if you take someone's money, just be like, hey, this is where it's at. Just like own it. Like a lot. Like I remember there was like a moment a couple months ago where there was like a discussion about late books, and Larry pops up in on Twitter, and it's just like tries to have this gotcha moment. It's like, well, Tyler has a late book, and everyone was like, yeah, we all know he hasn't like hit it. Like he has posts on
Right.
public Twitter. Hey guys, I'm a year late on this book. I own up to it. Like there's no gotcha. Um, so yeah, it's all about that. It's all about that transparent. It's all about that transparency.
That's the hard part too about doing crowdfunding is it's not a given that you're 100% guaranteed that product. It's to conceptualize the idea to bring it forward. Your reward then is if it works is you get it. Obviously you want it. You've exchanged goods for that. You're now assuming risk that they're going to deliver on it. And obviously if you want to create a good rapport with your people, you want to deliver on it. And you also want to deliver something good.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Going back to what we were talking about though, this long dude. How long do I have you? I don't want you to take away from your family. What's this time?
I've got like 20 more minutes and I
Okay,
should probably call it good.
okay. Well, let's end this after this. Um, is one thing I think as well, and like this kind of like ties up everything we've been talking about for like going forward. Is like everyone wants this instant gratification. Like creators, they want this money, and they don't want to like just like you were saying, like just put your story out. Don't worry about what other people are gonna say. And I had someone on Twitter be like, Tyler, you don't have like a product roadmap for your books. And I'm like, I do actually. And they go, it's your product roadmap's bad. And I'm like, well, actually, I haven't never said it publicly, so don't worry about it. But I'm like, my one of my biggest lessons I learned while working at the book publisher was that I can sell a book that is 10 years old and still sell 30,000 copies of that book. It was 10 years old. And when that book first came out, it only sold like 200 copies. 10 years later, find it, read it. I'm like, oh, that's actually kind of good. Why didn't it sell? How many copies do we have? Fuck, we have like 4,000 copies just sitting there.
Mm.
Let's sell this thing, do some marketing on it, sell out, and then every year we do it. We did a print run of 10,000 and sold out. And so what I learned was it's like as a creator, I'm like, I just need a backlog. And so everyone's like, I need the money now, 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 now. And I'm like, in 10 years, like in 10 years, if I have like 10 volumes, like 10 or 12 volumes of The Growth of Megafist, if I've got like a volume of Super Plumber Sisters, a volume of Bullet Assassin, 3 volumes of My Sexy Witch Academia, and then like a bunch of other series in like trades, then in 10 years, let's say I finally figure out the thing that gets me into that viral hit or something.
Right.
Then I can go, hey, by the way, here's this backlog of other stuff that you can buy. It's like I'm not starting from like I put out my first book, it's big, and now everyone has to wait for the next book. It's I can go, hey, here's this book. I also have this backlog you can eat up. Like there was I forget what her name was. I think it was Colleen Hoover. She's been doing books for like 10 years, these romance novels. And then in last year on TikTok, one of her books from 6 years ago goes viral. A book that she published 6 years ago goes viral on TikTok. And then her whole backlog, she sold, I think, around like 10 to 20 million copies of all of her books.
That's crazy.
And like, and my wife has read some of the books and she's like, they suck, but it doesn't matter. Like the point is, it's like she had 6 to 10 years worth of backlog to get those sales rising. And so like, you know, with what you're doing, by the time, you know, 10 years, like where will you be at with Demon Hunter Raven or Winnie the Pooh, or what other series will you have?
Right.
Like maybe I end The Girl with the Mega Fist at like volume 12 and I go at volume like 8 or 10 and I go, okay, I'm going to make a new series.
Well, look at Robert Kirkman. Invincible ended a long time ago, but now the animated series is out. People are checking it out.
And the sales are coming again.
Yeah, it's got a second life in it.
Yes. Do you know what, like there are still like Naruto like YouTubers.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that people still can make a career just talking about Naruto, even though it ended forever ago.
I think the big hope for every creator is they get something that has long lasting, that has legs that can go past them. I'm always somewhat inspired by Walt Disney himself, his ability to create. What was the first creation?
Snow White.
Walt the Rabbit.
No
before he created Mickey. And Walt the Rabbit got stolen from him from.
Did I say Snow White? Bang.
Yeah, that was his first. That was his first full length feature film. So Walt the Rabbit, I might be screwing this up. Someone correct me. Got stolen from him, from the distributors that were distributing the film. So he could have gave up, but it was actually his wife. There's something to, guys. There's going to be a connection here with wives, apparently. His wife said, "Do what you do. Go make another one." And so then he created Mickey Mouse. And I think there's always something to be said that like sometimes you create something that just it only has so long. Like it had 4 months, but then like what Tyler's saying, you'll finally have something that like it has legs. It starts going somewhere, and then suddenly all those other things that you were like that got you to that point suddenly have relevance again.
Yes, like I did this writing course by Dan Brown. He's the creator of the Da Vinci Code. He put out 4 novels beforehand, and his publisher goes, "Yo, these are not selling, and I know we booked you on like a 5-book contract. We're about to freaking fire you if your next book doesn't do well because these other 4, like." And it wasn't that the books sucked; they just didn't sell. And so he goes, fine, like I'll make something good. He pumps out the Da Vinci Code, which is to this day one of the most sold novels ever made. In like it's in like the top 10 most sold physical books ever of history. And the next like thing you know it, the 4 books that didn't make sales prior to that are now all New York Times bestsellers and have all now sold millions. But like, so sometimes you just have to like keep putting out a new idea until you get to your Da Vinci Code. And Da Vinci Code, if you think about it, like if you don't know like Dan Brown books, it was the second book in the Robert Langdon series. And so like it was a book 2. It was a sequel, and that was the one that did well. So you just never know like what's the thing that's gonna hit, and if you have a backlog of stuff that you can then point other people to, it just helps you. I mean, I had this disagreement with Larry the other day on stream where he was just like, I'm not quitting Niobe, and I think that you should not quit. You should always believe in your one series. And for me, I'm like, maybe that series, if I taken that belief, I'd still be writing Demons, and I was just getting bad reviews on Demons.
You know, I'll play devil's advocate because I think there's also power in that of doing the Todd McFarlane route where
the Spawn
idea. But I think the idea has to be strong enough that it can stand long enough to even go through its bad phases.
Yeah, that's true. Because like I'll say this as well. I'll now switch over to my side. I think Niobe is a very well designed character, And I think it did survive a bad phase. Like when they initially launched, it wasn't like it still was a good character, good looking character. The art just wasn't there because of like he was just starting, and now look at where it's at now. And it could definitely get into something better one day.
Chad, he's got to be. It was Oswald, and Chad's saying that he helped bring over Oswald to Disney. Chad, have you ever thought about doing like a podcast where you talk about that process? I know for one, I would love to hear about like the work that was put into that. Maybe you do actually have somewhere you could hook a brother up with that story because I'm really fascinated by that stuff.
Oh,
But yeah,
this is the first. This is the first. I've seen this before.
yeah,
Oswald.
Oswald was the first creation that Walt Disney created, and the distribution company was either Miramax or Columbia. I'm totally
So then
blank.
so then he created Mickey Mouse and was like, okay, let's
Created
just
Mickey Mouse.
make him kind of look the same, and then just
Yeah,
give him more round ears.
yeah, because at that time it was just like it was the Wild West. It's still the Wild West in creating.
Instead of
Yeah,
rabbits, we're going mice.
yeah. I think though, Tyler, what you and me are trying to say though is for us, it's taken multiple series for us to kind of learn the craft, hone our skills, and
Yes.
feedback. Because I'm still going back to Demon Hunter Raven, but you know what? I've got to take a little tour and just like hone my skills a little bit. And also, I always loved like what John Romita Jr. would say. It was like whenever he was on Spider-Man, he's like, "Man, I really wasn't as good. I hope they'll have me come back so I can do better." And
That's
it's
good.
always kind of that thought process of like, I can do better next time.
Yeah.
But to me, Todd McFarlane's more like a showmanship. He's like, I am the best. I'm going to show you how I'm the best.
And I'm gonna do. And I mean, he is like very.
He is the best.
He
Yeah.
is. But I like how you say that. It's like we're still trying to find we're trying to improve with every single book, dude. I think you got to go back to Radiant Rapture, dude.
I have this story. I've actually rewritten it 4 times. It's okay. I had that thing ready. I had covers, and I was about to hit launch. I was like, "Yeah, baby!" And then I realized it wasn't going anywhere. I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna fall." So I'm rewriting it.
I think Radiant Rapture would be. That was a pretty good Kickstarter, wasn't it?
It was a good one. It was a fun one, but I'm glad I didn't pull the next one because the story was terrible.
That's fair.
But talking about that pressure of having to deliver, it's like it wouldn't have done a good job even connecting to another one. It would have been so bad that I probably would have shut it down.
I mean, you did do a lot like during that time period. You had Demon Hunter Raven, then you had Radiant Rapture, you had Sun Child,
Yep.
the Santa Claus one. Demon Hunter Raven was like in a weird spot, like in like where his story, like what he was doing.
That was one of the craziest meta story building things I ever did that really didn't play out unless you were there for the moment. Like having him actually disappear at the end of the one volume.
Yes.
And then have him appear in other books that nobody knew about because we had to keep it hush hush. And then through marketing online with people socializing, he would show up. And then we launched the next book while those other books were taking place. I'm not doing that again.
It's one of those like, this was a good idea in the moment. And then
it wasn't.
If you weren't there, though, you'll forget that you did the thing. You did that.
Yeah, thing. It wasn't something you could really fully experience in the book. So it was really just kind of like a meta experience.
Yeah, because it was like he's lost, but it's like he's not lost. He's in the next volume. He's right here.
He's still there.
But you're like, no, I haven't done anything with him in a while. Yeah. He's lost. They go, no, he was in the next volume.
I mean, people that were waiting, they had to wait a whole year, and they thought he was done. And I was like, nah, joke's on you. He's back. And then I take another year.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. So, Nicholas, do you have anything? Let's end the stream. It's getting late. Where can people find you?
Yeah, I don't know anymore. I'm not really prevalent. You just keep an eye for Winnie the Pooh stuff on Amazon. Patreon. You know what? Actually, Patreon. You go down to the. I opened up $1 thing, or you can just join for free, and I'll do newsletters on there. As I'm gonna stay quiet for a while. I'm gonna get some stuff done. It's
I'll play your Patreon.
The Winnie the Pooh stuff's been a lot of pressure, and I got to deliver.
Wait, what the frick? Why can't I find your Patreon?
I just changed the name today, and I put on it's on the link tree.
Okay, I found it.
So it's a new link, but I'm gonna keep the $1 one open for a little bit, and then I'll probably shut it down again. I need to get some stuff done and then actually promote instead of promoting ideas.
All right, guys, I put his Patreon. I could show you guys what it looks like because I'm a member, but I won't. Oh, you got Irwin on this cover?
What did I do? Which one?
It's can I just show it?
Yeah, it's a concept one. Oh, this must be the one I'm having B color next. Oh yeah, that one. So I'm working on an online or a free version of Winnie the Pooh that I want to tell some extra stories that don't necessarily have anything to do with the main ongoing story, but like how the heck did he get his chainsaw? So
Dude,
I want to tell a story about that.
Irwin's a great artist.
He drew that for me like 6 months ago, and I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it yet.
That's so funny. And dude, Bia is a fantastic colorist. Like I can't wait to see this color. She's coloring something for me right now.
Yeah, go down a little bit more. Do you have that other one with just Winnie? No, maybe I don't have it up.
I have this.
No, that was. I must not have it up.
Did she color this?
Yeah, she colored that one. Dude, I was so mad. Never in a million years did I think the Ninja Turtles would team up with Naruto. I was like, I'm secure, man. I got an idea that they will never touch. And then like 6 months later, they announced their partnership. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, the problem, Nicholas, I think you're too ahead of the curve. You're like
I got
Winnie the Pooh demons like with the chainsaw, and then like the horror movie comes. I'm just like showing everyone all your.
I don't care. This is what they can get on Patreon. I've been showing off stuff for Snow White. It's still in development.
And then you're like, okay, fine, whatever. People are gonna do Winnie the Pooh chainsaw, whatever. I'm gonna do the Ninja Turtles with demons, like the Hashira, and like they're gonna be like actual ninjas and samurai, and then also Naruto, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah, I got stomped out of everything, and then my version of it released a month before they actually hit shops, and I was like, well, at least I still published.
That is so funny.
Yeah. Now I got to spend some time in the kitchen cooking. I kind of just like hit a creative wall where I just like I could not think anymore. I just like I don't know if other people ever. I've never. I guess I'm just not around that many people anymore. But like I just hit a creative dry spot where I could not think anymore.
Is it
Everything just
is it
poured
like
out.
is it because of like you're thinking like, will this make money, or do I just enjoy this?
It was a mix of both. I just stopped enjoying it too. Like I was like everything just started to suck, and I'd start drawing. I'd be like, I hate this.
That's fair. That's
So I'm working on getting back.
Hey, that's good. As long as you're like working your way, and like that's just that stuff happens.
It does.
Like
It sucks.
you just should go like, this sucks. I don't want to do this anymore.
Right? It was kind of probably like with you and chefs, where it's just like the passion's there, but it's just like the drive, the motivation.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to. Like right now, I'm like trying to think. Okay, for 2026, I should probably start finding some artists if I want to do like this or work on a different book and draw it. And
Yeah.
I'm like, do I really want to? Maybe I'll just stick with this series and not just expand. And I'm dude. Right now, I'm trying to get back into doing YouTube videos.
It's so hard.
It's hard. Like I thought it'd be easy having Animane be the editor for that other channel. So like I'm like, okay, all I have to do is just record the audio and then he'll do the rest. But I'm like, well, I still have to come up with the idea, do the idea, come up with an opinion, record it in a way that's gonna like do well so that Animane can like edit the video.
Right.
And I'm just like, even this, I'm like, oh, it's still work.
Well, it's producing the ideas, making sure there's quality, executing on it.
Yeah, and it's
I don't know.
yeah, and like is this is this video that we're about to make? Because I'm paying him, so like I hopefully the video topic I choose is gonna get like views.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never talked to anyone about like being frozen in a place where you like creatively you want to do everything, but now it comes down to like, well, what do I do that actually matters? Because I only have so much time. I can't just go, I'm gonna do 5 books at once. No, I only have time for one thing, and it has to be important, and then it has to be good to deliver upon as well.
Yeah, that's what did. It was easy to do Super Plumber Sisters, Bold Assassin, My Sexy Witch, and Growth the Magnificent when I was unemployed. And now that I have this job, I'm like, okay, some of you guys got to go.
Yeah.
And never come back.
Yep.
So yeah, like once I'm fit, but also like, but I'm like, also since I'm in the middle of it, it's like, I've got to end these and I have to end these well.
Yes.
I can't just quit them. I can't be like, all right, I don't have time to do Super Plumber Sisters anymore. So thanks for reading the first 2 chapters. Like, peace. Like that just looks bad.
Yeah. Don't start multiple series and be like, hey, yeah, no, not coming back.
Exactly. So I'm like, I've got to finish these and then we're done. And I'm like, man, I'm looking at my timeline. I'm probably going to finish them. Like it'll take me till the end of next year to finish them. And then 2026 will be the year of the trade paperback for me.
Those are fun.
Those will be fun. I think it's like everyone gets the collected edition. They're like collected editions. I get to put it up on Amazon, but then also it's like free money because I already paid the artists.
Yeah, you're just getting it twice over.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think
Exactly.
anyone learned anything from this stream, or they just went, "Holy crap, these guys are crazy"?
Dude, we had like anywhere from 30 to 35 people watching like consistently.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Those
So
people are crazy.
this is like how long we've been streaming for almost 3 hours.
Shut the front door.
Yeah. That's crazy. This is what happens when we don't talk for a year and a half on stream.
We get so busy.
I know. We'll have to talk more. I'll have to bring you on my cooking channel, and we
Okay.
can talk about like the books that we're reading.
Of cooking.
Of cooking. Cooking. Wait, hold on. Are you doing it? Have you? When was the last time? When was the last time you uploaded a YouTube video, dude? Besides
I've
today.
done it sporadically. Yeah, no, the last one was 5 months ago, and then I took down a bunch of others because they were stupid.
Dude, this pains me. Why did you stop?
I
1.5 thousand, 1.5 thousand, 1,000, 1.5 thousand, 1,000, 6,000, 3,000.
Yeah, dude, it just got to the point where like none of it excited me, and everything was just pain. And then it was if I put time into that, then it took time away from something else.
That's
and then
that's true. That's
Yeah.
how it goes. If you have to, it's a either or. I mean,
Okay, I want to address something. This is news to me. So Tim's saying he dropped the kids off at the pool. When did he get kids?
I dipped out to drop the
Congrats,
kids.
Tim.
I dipped out to drop the kids off at the pool.
What pool did you take him to this late at night?
Thanks for trying my video for half an hour. Guilty Gearhead. I wasn't planning on watching the whole thing. I just like listening to you guys talk. There we go. We just got to do more of these where we're just talking.
Well, I feel bad for him, dude.
Get a Raboshin one. Oh, what's up, dude? How you doing? What pool is open at 11?
Yeah, like he's like, you didn't get that joke, Nick?
I have a lot of books to buy on Amazon.
Yes, you do, sir.
It's a poop joke. Oh, there, that makes sense.
I was being.
It's a poop. It's a poop joke.
I love doing that to my kids. Well, they'll come in like, "Dad, do you want to see what I did?" I said, "Well, I'd have to open my eyes to do that."
Dude,
dad jokes are the best.
I dipped out to drop the kids off at the pool. Dude, just you should have brought your phone to the phone while you did your poo poo.
Be like a normal creator and just draw while you're on the toilet.
He probably does. He probably has to.
Do you think Tim would ever be like up to hearing our advice of how he should run his business? That seems to be how most creators. Maybe you should have him on here and we'll interrogate and be like, Tim, you got it all wrong. Okay, you're doing Common America all wrong. You're going for weebs. You got to go for the Australians.
There we
like,
go.
Whatever. I don't know.
Well, first we have to teach him that he needs to. First we need to teach him that you shouldn't call your poop kids, because that means you have some attachment with your poop, and you've just got to let it go. I actually, real quick, I wrote a children's book, and it's about this girl who moves to a different town. She's very sad about moving because all of her friends, and subsequently she refuses to flush her poop. And it's this whole story about like her parents like, you need to flush your poop, and she's like, I'm not flushing my poop. They're my friends. My poop are my friends. And then she like goes into this adventure. She goes on this adventure where she goes to the poop world and she's talking with all of her poop. She's hanging out with her poop. And then eventually they're like, you need to flush us. And she's like, I don't want to flush you. You guys are my friends. And they're like, just because we're far away doesn't mean we're not still going to be your friends. You got to flush us. So she flushes us. And then it ties back to the fact that she misses home. She moved. She misses her hometown. She misses her friends and family. But just because they're far away doesn't mean that they're still not friends and family.
I hate how that's actually a well-written story involving poop.
Involving poop.
And I could see people buying that. And then I myself would also promote it, being like, guys, this is really good poop story.
That's my end in the children's book world. Tim says, I do want to hear it. I actually learned a lot from Nasser.
Okay, here's the deal, though. I would only promote that book if Tim Lim himself drew it.
Dude, I think Tim's art would be great for a book.
And then he promoted it on Iconic.
I'll
tell you more of the joke when we go offline because it'd be too mean.
I do remember. We'll have to get See, like I miss this. Like I miss like streaming with you. I miss streaming with like Tim. I miss like like one. I didn't stream a lot this year, so it's like just gotta get this all back.
The positivity has been gone for too long, and I still think it has to do with Mrs. H's disappearance.
There you go.
There's something there. There's something symbolic.
Yeah, I mean like I think this year was a tough year for everyone, and I don't know why. Maybe I think it was because it was an election year.
There's a lot of heated people. A
Yes.
lot of people had louder mouths, and I think just everyone's busy. So like when there's a lot of heated discussion, sometimes it's harder to have cooler heads, or especially when you're being hit left and right. I mean, this last week, yours is simply your video about, hey, I'm just taking a different path. Everyone took it as, oh, you're done with comics. No, no, I said I'm doing it differently.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're quitting? No.
It's like, hey, what if we just did this as a hobby?
What if we did it for fun?
What if we did it for fun? But I am feeling this like as I've been working on this other YouTube channel and reading some recipes and stuff, I'm like, okay, like this is good. I'm getting back into fun, and I'm streaming with more people. I've been going on other people's streams lately and like bringing on people and like just getting back into it. It's like, you know what, there is a way to be positive in all of this.
Oh yeah,
and
sure.
there is a way to have fun, and it's also about like the right people. Like I always knew that you and I were gonna have fun because we've had fun on stream for like 6 years, which is a really long time.
We're actually gonna end this stream to actually yell at each other.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'd love to have Tim on the stream again. Like we always had a great time doing streams.
I just want you to know that if you bring him on here, he's not allowed to speak about me, say my name, or I mean it. I mean it.
Oh my gosh.
I can't say that with a straight face.
All war all the time, Tyler. Yeah, like that's tiring. That's tiring. I think 2025 the goal is just to have a silly goose time.
I think a lot of people forgot that creating is for fun, and some people took it on a route that it's used as a weapon.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
That's no fun.
No, it sucks. But all right, guys, we're gonna end the stream. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you guys in 2025. Nicholas, we'll have to have you come on again, dude.
Yeah, dude, you just name the time, and I'll probably just ignore it.
There we go.
No, we'll make something work.
Awesome. All right, let's see. I'll only go on if your New Year's resolution is to sing more silly songs, maybe even rap. Okay, well I did get like this like little like chill guitar, so we'll just be like, let's see. Ethan, you are a piece of shit. We'll just like, we can just do like songs about that.
I'll play the other side of, no, he's an individual and human being that deserves love, compassion, and Jesus like everyone else.
There we
See, we'll balance each other out.
Yeah, there we go.
I don't care if people hate me.
No. Here's the thing, and I'll say this. Even though I think Ethan is a piece of shit, he's a fantastic artist. Like, he's a very good artist. No, you don't think so?
You know, he's just not, his style's not my kind, but he is actually a good artist. Just not my preference.
That's fair. I almost have, and it's like not, it kind of sucks because his name's in it, but I'm like, I almost have all of his Green Lantern run.
You know what's funny? Out of all the Green Lantern runs, I hated his the most. I could not stand the way he drew faces.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when they had other ones like Carlos Pacheco, I don't know how you say his name. I loved when they had him on there. He had such a dynamic style. I loved when, or Ivan Reis.
Ivan Reis was fantastic.
All his issues were top down.
Yeah.
I always immediately skipped when Ethan was on it.
Oh,
no, and
shit.
nothing against him. I just did not like his style.
I'll say the only character that I didn't like Ethan drawing was Batman.
Yeah, I don't like his Batman.
I did not like his Batman. I never have liked his Batman.
But that's not to say I don't think he's a good artist. It's just his style wasn't my taste.
That's fair.
I think a lot of people, I know we're going on long here. I think a lot of people need to differentiate that sometimes their art isn't to their preference. It's not that it's crap. It's just not to their preference.
100%. Yeah. 100%.
My art is crap though, so I will take that.
I'll take that too as well. My art's not good. Jose Garcia, great stream. Good night, everyone. Jose, what's up, dude? Dude, I'll say this. I paid Jose Garcia to draw a comic for me, and I never sent him the fucking script.
Jose Garcia is a monster, a beast at art.
Yeah, like
I look at his pages and I go, well, I okay,
I need
jealous.
like Jose, if you're still listening, I am gonna get you that script. But like I sent him like like money, like a full payment for a 20-page book. And then he was like, "Sweet, thank you for the payment. Like, where's the script?" And I went, "I'll get it to you." Never did. It's been like 6 months.
He's probably sitting there like, no, it's cool. You could not send it.
So I gotta get him. I gotta get Jose this book because that's gonna be that'll be fantastic. All right, everyone.
Whatever you give off stream.
No, you're good. I clearly, by the way, was just flush with cash that month. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll pay for this book up front and not do anything with it.
Dude, if you have him on a book, that is okay.
It was just like a 20-page one shot. It's called
Still, dude, there's so much potential there.
Oh,
That dude
I
can
know.
draw.
And I didn't do anything. I just paid him.
That's because you're still thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, I have the title. It's one of those things where like I have the title, I have the concept. I just like the story. I'm still like yeah. He's like, yeah, I'm still waiting on it.
It's like Donald. How do you spell Donald? Is it Donald?
Donald DeLay.
Okay, I always want to say Donal because I pronounce it all together. Anyways, Donald's Samurai Penguin Blade. Did I
Samurai Penguin Blade?
Okay, that every time I see him post that, I'm like, okay, I just need to wait a few more days until are they releasing it yet? I'm like, yes, I'm excited.
I'm hoping like when he has that done, I want to do a Kickstarter on that. I'm gonna do a Kickstarter on that.
I'm gonna show up to your house if you don't, and I'm just gonna slap you silly.
I hope it's gonna be a good one. Like I think it's a fun story.
I'll show up with a camera so that everyone can see me slapping you.
There we go. All right, guys, have a good night.